We are live. We are live with the first Outlier live stream Super Bowl prop spectacular. I'm Adam Rosenberg. You see me every week. I bring in a cavalcade of friends and fam. But to kick everything off, I got the brains behind Outlier. I've got Evan Kirkham, CEO, founder of Outlier. Evan, where are you right now?
Where am I?
Actually, yeah, where are you?
I'm
right
in
now?
Austin.
You're in
Austin.
Okay.
I'm at home. So,
Okay.
And also, far too generous to call me the brains. I'm one of the team members and I'm the CEO, but there are a lot of brains on the team. So,
all right, one of the many brains. Well, first of all, as I always say, whoever was the brains that did the quintuple single and put that in there, that guy is my favorite.
That's our CTO, Lewis. Yeah, I'll give him a shout out right here.
Absolutely. So, Evan, Super Bowl week. This is the big one. This is literally it. And all the bankrolls that have been built up all season goes into this weekend. There are tons of things to be able to bet on. But I want to know from you what's your, first of all, do you have a take on the game? And then I want to get a prop from you. And then I'd love to get a score prediction. And
cool.
Kick us off. What are you thinking?
So my take on the game is that I actually think it's, and this is maybe just wishful thinking, but I actually think it's going to be a really competitive game, which is awesome for the league. Good for all of the live bettors. It's just more fun. So I think it's going to be a really competitive game. I think it'll be rowdier than ever since it's in Vegas. That'll be great. Score prediction. Maybe I'll start with that. So I think that the Niners are going to win. And I think that the final score is 24-21. I actually was just looking. I think I'm actually pretty in line with Vegas on that. I think they have the Niners by 2, and I forget what the total is, 47 or something like that. Oh, here we go.
Look at that. We got
just like that.
By the way, one of the things I've been doing is I mess around with how big the pictures are now.
Yeah.
So we're in good size boxes. But yeah, we're round 2. We are within the margins.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So I've got the Niners by 3. So there we go. Ooh. And then my total would be 45.
All right. So a tight game coming down to the end. It sounds like. Is there a regular player prop that you've been looking at? And then I'd love to talk a little bit about some of the fun props that aren't necessarily trendable, but are fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, just back to the game really quick. The reason I think the Niners are going to pull it off is because their offense is just really performing. I was looking right before this at Outlier and seeing that they're number 1 yards per play. They do not turn the ball over. They're number 1 red zone efficiency. And then meanwhile, if you look at the Chiefs, they're ranked 23rd for turnovers. So I actually think this is going to come down to one kind of poorly timed Mahomes interception. And so actually leading into my player prop, that's my prop. So I think I've got Mahomes plus, a half interception. Vegas is giving pretty much even money right now. I actually think it's a little bit favoring the over. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
105 minus 105.
We literally have the ability to pull it up. This is
So we get it a little better. And actually, look at that. I was looking at this earlier. Check this season. So 2023.
Look at that.
So look at that. He's thrown an interception in 58% of the games, but in a number of those games, he's throwing 2 interceptions, right? And so I don't know. I just think that they're going to have to force the ball a little bit. They're playing catch up late, and I think that Mahomes ends up throwing an interception there. So really, I might take this straight, but I think that it's kind of a sneaky builder for a parlay. So also San Francisco is forcing a ton of turnovers. I think they have the 5th most turnovers.
They've forced the first most turnovers.
Okay, there you go.
We also have a live product update here. Situational records was not here yesterday or even this morning when I was playing around with this.
Situational records. I have not seen that yet either.
Well, there you go. So pretty badass. Okay, so you're banking on a Mahomes INT, which has been very prevalent this season. Not so much in the playoffs. It looks like we're down. The argument that the Chiefs backers are giving is that right now we are getting the best version of Patrick Mahomes' worst Chiefs team. We're getting the best defense that he's had, and they're suddenly clicking at the right time, which is, exactly what championship teams do. We're also getting the San Francisco team that hasn't looked as great as it's looked all season. But then again, we get the San Francisco team still as the favorite. So you're just you're not even balking. You don't care about this Mahomes getting points narrative. You are just Mahomes going to throw a pick, and it's going to be clutch.
Yeah. My only hesitation I have, not even about the Mahomes pick. I don't know. I feel that one in my gut, and I think the data is backing it up, despite the kind of playoff track record. I do hate betting against the Chiefs. It's just so hard to bet against the Chiefs. So I do think the Niners are going to win. That's the bet I'm going to take, but it's a scary one, no doubt.
Yeah. Look, I have the cop-out play because I had two futures that I was like, oh, wow, man, I don't really need to take a side. Nice. But I still took a side because I am taking the square side. I'm on the Chiefs. I just cannot back. I can't consciously back this Niners team just because I think there's a better coach on the other side. I think Mahomes is still the greatest.
I think Andy Reid's a better coach.
I think Andy Reid's a better coach. I think Andy Reid learned how to coach as soon as he left Philadelphia. And I also think they have a better defense. But, and I'm also maybe a little bit jaded about Niners fans and Eagles fans and our little rivalry we have. But this is about the teams that are playing this week that are actually still in it. So, look, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Have you looked at any of the fun props, things that actually, look, if you were able to get, Usher's first song to make.
I was going to say, are we talking like national anthem?
Yeah. Is there one of those that you have kind of keyed in on? And by the way, for folks that are just tuning in, we're going to, all of the props that we can, we're going to add to a slip, and then we're going to be able to send that out with a link so that if you want, you can add it. You actually will be able to see what the price is amongst the big four books and Prize Picks and Underdog, because they actually have pricing on there. But what is one of the novelty, exotic, not outlierable props that you've kind of kept your eye on?
I'm looking this up right now because I have no idea what the props even are right now. We should add those for one game per season. I don't know. I'm going to throw something totally random out there. We'll take the national anthem under. How about that?
It is. So from
no rhyme, no reason. That's just.
Well, my sources tell me that she's never gone over, that she knows how to breeze right through it, and she's got special boots for this, the whole deal. Yeah. We got the chat. We got people jumping in the chat. We got Jay Bookie. We got Mike Huffer. Huffer's actually going to be joining the show in a couple weeks because he is of the Pump Fake Pod, a group of very, very sharp college basketball guys who, of course, all have Indiana ties because those people all have basketball in their blood. John Branch asking when Scott's coming on. Scott is coming on at 10:30. He thought it was going to be at 10:30 a.m. And so at 10:30 a.m. this morning, he texted me asking me for a link. I don't know why we would have been doing this at 10:30 a.m., but he's on later. For those just joining, we're kicking things off for a live spectacular. We're going to go through props. We're going to go through a whole bunch of different guests. Basically, I just begged all my friends to jump on this. But coming up at 9:15. If you're on the East Coast, I'm going to use East Coast time. 9:15, which is 7 minutes. Sean Green's going to be calling in from Vegas. We got Mark Drumheller coming through. We got Shayne Trail. We got Harrison Russo and Jovan Alford from True Life Sports. We got Stephie Smalls. If she can find a computer, she might be doing it from her phone. We got a whole bunch of people. We're kind of, it's sort of it's like we're taking the concept of Wayne's World with betting and just blowing it up and having a big one tonight. So Evan, okay, we have, what's your Super Bowl plan? Like you're going to be in Austin. What do you?
Well, I have a baby, so babies kill plans. But no, I'll probably meet up with a couple buddies here and you can grab a couple beers, something like that. At least watch the second half of the game out. But the first half will probably be getting baby down, rushing back to the TV, probably beer in hand. And then also what's fun for us too is the Super Bowl isn't honestly, NBA has been huge for Outlier. So so I'm not too many.
No. Talk a little bit about it. What's kind of happening? We can use this as a cool update. What's going to happen? What's happening for Outlier? Because look, props actually aren't big for the NFL. They're important and they're big, but NBA is really prop central. What's kind of going on from an Outlier perspective that's happening post Super Bowl?
Yeah, so some big updates. So we just added the DFS Pick'em books, Underdog and Prize Picks. Hoping to get Sleeper on soon. So really excited about that. That's just created a ton of momentum. I mean, those books are massive. Actually, Prize Picks is the #1 downloaded sports app in the App Store. So Outlier is number 33. So we're getting there. Yeah.
Top 50, top 40.
Top 40, yeah. But it's pretty wild. Get this, Adam. We're actually in front of the NFL app a week out from the Super Bowl. So
that's pretty
excited
impressive.
about that. Yeah. So anyway, that was a big update. No, we'll keep adding to NBA. We've got things like pace of play, days of rest, potential rebounds, like all those kind of potential stats. There's a lot of stuff we want to do with insights. We're building some really cool custom insights. Really focusing still on NBA, and then of course NCAA basketball as March Madness rolls around. And then before you know it, it's opening day, and we're back to the MLB stuff. And I know you crushed MLB using Outlier last season, and I'm just excited to get back to it. So
yeah, back when Outlier only had MLB,
pretty much. Yeah,
people don't realize a year ago it was just baseball, and it wasn't even everything. And like we had a discussion about, hey, what's an important stat? Let's add hard hit rate. And honestly, no, that's going to be a lot of fun. That is why we have over 1,000 different props that we can bet this weekend, is so that we can bankroll into baseball season.
Save all your money for MLB. That's where you're gonna win.
Someone famously described betting on MLB as drinking salt water or drinking seawater, because you basically you're not going to quench your thirst, and you're really just going to feel sick, but you're just going to keep doing it if you're sitting in a raft in the middle.
That's honestly a little scary. Maybe we won't say that again.
But yeah, it's look, I love betting baseball, but it gets a little exhausting towards the end. So okay, so how have the playoffs treated you overall well? I mean, overall for football, have you what's kind of were you expecting actually the Chiefs to make it all the way over here? Were you expecting the Niners? What's kind of been your thing?
Yeah, I was expecting the Niners. I was not expecting the Chiefs. I think that's probably consensus opinion. But I'm excited for it. I mean, of course, the Cowboys, my team, and the Niners have some kind of old time rivalries, so it's hard for me to cheer for the Niners. But I do want someone else winning the Super Bowl. So because you're a Cowboys fan, I was gonna wait, but now I'm actually going. I see that Shawn's in the back room, and so I'm gonna bring in another Eagles fan as backup as a way to do this, but. Right now, we got Shawn. There we go. We got Shawn Green from SGPN. Shawn is live from Vegas. So now you have two Eagles fans right now who just heard you talk about how the Cowboys are your favorite team, and that you didn't. I don't even know what to tell you. Well, I just saw Jerry said they're going all in next year. So
look out.
Really?
No more.
What have they been doing the past 30 years? Yeah. What have they been doing the past 30 years?
I don't know, man. And then getting rid of Quinn, this defensive coordinator. I thought he was awesome, with the exception of the Packers game. But yeah, I don't know.
I think that I thought I saw that they were interviewing Ron Rivera, and then there was another name that I'm just like, are they just kind of going through the Madden 2005
Bill
coaching
Belichick
rosters? Yeah, just saying hey, let's pick out some coordinators.
Yeah,
and sure, okay.
Are you still in on Dak? I feel like some of Cowboys fans are turning on Dak.
I've always been half in, half out on him.
Yeah.
I always said that I thought he was going to win one Super Bowl, and now I just don't know that that's even going to happen. It's time to start looking around, but the guy, when he balls, he balls. It's just the turnovers are just awful.
But he was better about it this. I'll give him this. He was better about it this year. I mean, as we just had a Mahomes discussion, and Shawn, you're missing the Evans prop that's going to go in is the Mahomes INT, which has obviously been a big thing. Mahomes was very Dak-esque this year when it comes to interceptions, so you cannot deny that. But yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. I'm not the biggest believer in Dak, but I don't know what the other options are right now. I don't know who I would take instead of him. I don't know.
Zach Wilson's available.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. Well, you guys have Trey Lance.
Yeah.
So
no.
You guys were talking about not wanting to root for the 49ers. I mean, I still have bookmarked Twitter beef from people who were yelling at me that Trey Lance was going to be the starter for the 49ers and they're going to bet me $100 and I owe them $100 when Trey Lance is going to be starting in San Francisco. I haven't heard from any of those people. That fan base is so annoying. And they were just the Trey Lance truthers were just insane.
Trey Lance truthers.
They really are. Like they believe in Trey over anything. It's like, guys, Shanahan got rid of him. He gave up a ton of stuff to draft this guy super high and then replaced him with the last pick in the draft. If anyone wanted to make it work, it was Kyle Shanahan. And even he said, fuck it, I'm out. So maybe Trey Lance isn't the guy.
Yeah, but we all know that if Trey Lance was still on this team, you and I would both be betting him as first touchton, second touchdown. He could have.
Shanahan has a gadget play. Shanahan has a gadget play.
That's so true.
Well, Evan, look, you're welcome to kind of stick around. Really appreciate you like coming in and doing this. And Shawn, Shawn's an old school color cast guy, so like having
I know,
so,
man.
You know it. So, but cool. Yeah, so well, you could, I mean, you could stay, or you
I'll bounce, but I'll keep watching.
All right, keep watching, doing it. Awesome, like cool. Awesome, appreciate it.
Good seeing you, man.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
Yeah, Shawn, I gotta tell you. Well, first of all, the big thing that I've wanted to ask you since about 5 p.m. this afternoon, when I got the notification that Sky Moore is going to be playing in the playoffs, is Sky Moore our new Jerick McKinnon?
I don't, the Sky Moore stuff interesting. I'm just still my heart belongs to Justin Watson. The what I've seen, he wears an arm sleeve. I still think it's the Justin Watson as far as like the surprise random guy. Maybe a Richie James touchdown in there, but Justin Watson to me is still pretty interesting, especially if the 49ers, like I could see them going out of their way to maybe shut down Kelsey. Roll coverage to Rashee Rice, that kind of stuff. I do think Justin Watson could be the guy that sees some open space. So I'm kind of going Justin Watson. I'll dive into the Sky more, but Justin Watson still feels like the guy.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be one, and there's just like one guy who's like I think you and I by Tuesday morning we had convinced ourselves, it's going to be Jerick McKinnon to the moon, and then Andy was just like, here's a whole bunch of water. I'm just going to pour all over that.
Bastard.
I don't know if you also saw, but Kadarius Toney is completely healthy for the Super Bowl, meaning he was not the Chiefs player who was attacked by the coyote that was going around. I
definitely had him as a favorite.
I could absolutely seen Andy Reid being the guy who who said, "Hey, go over there. There's no coyotes." So you are in Vegas. What's it like, man? What's it been like? We're at midweek. What's kind of the vibe? Is it still like Chiefs, and books need the Niners, or is it no one cares and it's just back to this like Mahomes with the points, ignore it? What kind of are you thinking? What's the vibe out there?
Yeah, I feel like there's the pulse. A lot of people are just saying, hey, Mahomes and the points. You got to take Mahomes as an underdog, that kind of stuff. And I understand that. I like the Chiefs, but I like the Chiefs more just for the defense. And the more I talk to people, the more I do these podcasts, the more we give out Super Bowl 58 props for Super Bowl 58, the more I keep thinking this defense of the Kansas City Chiefs is really what's going to rule the day. I mean, look at what they did against Miami. Now, granted, that was at home in cold weather, but then they went to Buffalo, took care of a good Buffalo offense on the road, and then they shut down the MVP, Lamar Jackson, held him to 10 points at home. I know they got some turnovers and stuff like that, but really, I think the story of the game is going to be the Chiefs defense.
So you guys, you and Ryan Kramer, you guys have been hard at work. You guys have put out a number of different pods. I am midway through. I've done my commutes for the week, so that means I got to listen to them on like real time versus in my car. So you are back in the Chiefs.
Yes.
What is a prop that you were looking at that is just a regular player prop, and then what is one of the like ones that is just kind of kooky and fun that you've sort of kept your eye on that really that kind of is your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, so standard prop, I do think Brock Purdy to throw an interception is just right.
Let's do it.
Right in the wheelhouse. I just think now the Chiefs, you're getting a decent price too. I mean, I like
The price of them both at basically like even money, basically flat for either one of these guys.
Yeah, and you can do like some head-to-head Mahomes versus him, or there was another way to bet it that the Chiefs would have more interceptions, basically on the defensive side than the 49ers. I like that as well, but yeah, really for me, it's Brock Purdy. Like he threw a ton of interceptable passes in that Packers game, didn't convert. He did. The Lions did get one home. And I think this Chiefs team is going to convert on a Brock Purdy interception. I think he's going to be a little bit overwhelmed with this Chiefs defense. So him to throw an interception, very doable, especially in the first half. So yeah, I love that. And that, that's like the pretty standard prop. So yeah, give me Purdy to throw a pick.
Yeah, I took over 1.5 interceptions at plus money. I think it was on MGM. I took that just because look, if the Niners defense plays to its ability, which it hasn't, but if it's still capable of doing these kind of things and these game-changing things, sure, because Mahomes has thrown a bunch. And I'm with you. Purdy looks like, a guy who gets the jitters, and especially in first halves of game. Like we're only a few weeks removed. We're about a month removed from when he threw 4. So
I mean, just look at to me, the handicap is look at Purdy versus top 5 defenses, right? Look at what the Ravens did to Brock Purdy. Look what the Browns did to Brock Purdy. I mean, and that Lions defense was shutting him out for a good first half, and so were the Packers. And those defenses were defenses that the fan bases were worried about. They're like, our defense is going to be our downfall. Meanwhile, both those defense played a pretty good game. I mean, he got there late, so hats off to him, but I think he's really going to struggle. Spags has had great game plans to shut down Tua, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson in 3 weeks straight. Now he has 2 weeks to work on Brock Purdy. Come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? We got obviously SGPN fans in the chat. We got John Branch. John asking, what are the odds on Reba McEntire showing cleavage? I know that this was one that you researched pretty near and far. What did those close? What's that going to end up closing at?
Last I saw it as plus 300. We'll see if there's any cleavage movement on Reba McEntire. I mean, is it the sharpest bet in my Super Bowl portfolio? No, but come on, like you gotta have fun with some of these. And cleavage is. I'm sure I will be on some offshore chat at some point arguing with what is or isn't determined as cleavage. But come on, Reba McEntire, little bit of a low cut dress. Let's go. Little bit of an underdog.
So what are a couple, pat yourself on the back. What are a couple of the sharp plays that you're pretty proud of?
Oh, let's see. Sharp plays. Well, I do think, I do think the team total under for the 49ers is set at 20.5. And you look back on the Chiefs, or no, sorry, it's not set at 20.5. The adjusted total you can get under 20.5 is plus 170. Chiefs have played 20 games of defense. 16 times they've held opponents to 20 or less. So I think they're going to be able to do that to this 49ers team. You look at just Reed versus Shanahan in general. He's done a good job against them just overall. And I think the Chiefs are going to be able to run the ball and not only be able to move the ball via Pacheco and via the run game, but also keep the ball out of the 49ers hands. So I think I don't think the 49ers are going to have a ton of scoring opportunities. You got Jake Moody, who's had some real issues kicking as well. So the fact that you can get this at plus 170, team total under 49ers at 20.5, that's kind of it's one of my quote unquote sharper plays in my mind.
It's almost 2-1. I think like plus 170. I mean, it's great for that. I've looked at because of the Jake Moody issues. It's allowed me. I looked at over the shortest field goal over 26.5 because basically I think that if they get to any point where it's the 30, that both of these teams are kind of going to, or under it, I think both these teams are going to kind of go for it. I don't think actually Moody's going to be as trusted in some of those situations because he really hasn't been able to do it. He's actually had multiple times this season where it hasn't really worked out. That Cleveland game a couple weeks ago. So I think, plus if they're close enough they got Christian McCaffrey. They probably rather go for it with him than try to kick something with Moody, I think. So looking at the team totals, and by the way, Chiefs second in points allowed scoring defense. So it's not like you're pulling this out of nowhere.
No.
One of the things, and I know we only got you for a few more minutes, but one of the things that you looked at and you poured through so that no one else had to was first of the game props. Are there a couple that you've seen that you really liked? Not to spoil, but you had one with CFC. What are a couple of the first of the game props that you've seen that you really liked?
Yeah, so Kramer and I worked on these. I do like his use check to have the first reception for the 49ers. He's been targeted a couple times early on, and you can get that just for the San Francisco side at like 24-1 over at Circa and some other places. So that's kind of an interesting one. If you can find that market, some just have first catch overall. First catch overall, I don't mind Noah Gray at like 16-1, 17-1. He's a guy that I think I went through the past 10 game logs. He had 2 catches for the Chiefs in that, and he had one target as the first thing. And I wouldn't be surprised. Noah Gray is another guy that's kind of an interesting first touchdown, anytime touchdown, because I could see Andy Reid zagging a little bit. Oh, everyone thinks we're going to go Kelsey. Here comes the Noah Gray touchdown. So he's kind of interesting early and for first touchdown as well.
So, okay, Noah Gray, Justin Watson, Sky Moore, which you get to keep one of these. We're not going to call them fringe players, but we're going to call them below the fold players that you don't recommend. You get to back one of them. Which one's it going to be?
I'll go Justin Watson, because another one I like for Justin Watson, and this one I think is more sharp than some of the other plays, or at least just isn't my love of backup white tight ends. It is Justin Watson, first to 20 receiving yards, 35-1. And you want to go, and we were talking about this on the show, like, hey, the higher receiving yards or the receiving yards for the game total, you probably want to lean to the chalkier stuff. But the lower you go as far as like first to 10 receiving yards, first to 20 receiving yards, that's where you can get some sweet variance, right? Because Justin Watson, maybe he gets involved early. He averages 18.5 yards per catch for the Kansas City Chiefs in his career with them the past couple of years. So him getting a catch that's 20 yards, maybe it's early on before no one else has done it. That's what I like, because he's a guy that can get a 20-yard catch, boom, like nothing. So that one of the Justin Watson stuff, actually, I kind of like the most, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, look, his line is set at 15.5. So
yeah,
I mean,
right.
Really, so they're already saying if he catches one, it's going to be for 15 yards. So why not just look? I mean, like you do it for if you did him for 20, it's like, well, it's going to be like probably plus 150 or something like that. So you're getting crazy value for that to be for a guy who's probably getting 2 targets a game. That's insane.
So yeah, to your point, if his over 20 is at plus 150. And then just you look at that of him to be the first guy out of guys that are probably actually going to have a chance to get 20 receiving yards. It's not it's not 35-1, right?
No, exactly. It's actually like something's not adding up there. So, all right. So we got a minute left. We got and I see we got another. We had a Cowboys fan, then we go Eagles fan, and then we got Mark Drumheller in the back
Birds.
studio. And so I want to get from you score prediction going into this weekend. Or have you not gotten there yet? You get a cop out like other gambling podcasts. No score predictions. I mean, I just want to watch a good game.
We will be revealing the final score prediction on our final podcast tomorrow morning, but I will give the Outlier podcast viewers and listeners the exclusive early access to my pick. Kansas City Chiefs 28-17 and small sprinkle on Kelsey MVP.
Love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, look, I'm gonna bring Mark on so we can have. Look at this. We got multiple Bird fans all at once.
Go Bird.
What's up, my man?
All right, guys.
Shawn,
I gotta go. Go hit the tables. Man. Good seeing you.
Do it. Thanks a lot, man. We got Mark Drumheller from Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life, another one of both my good friends and another Eagles fan. Sorry, folks, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of insufferable Eagles fans. I believe Shayne comes after you too, so that's another Eagles fan. Mark, what's going on, man? How's your week been prepping for the big one?
It's been good, man. Listen, can't wait. One game to prep for, but pretty much dialed in on this one. So I'm excited to watch it play out.
So you won't tout yourself very well, but luckily your friends will. Mark 12-0 so far in these playoffs. 12-0, all his stuff tracked at Matthew Berry Fantasy Life. Mark's been really great. What's your take on this game? You were look, dude, you felt like you were on Chiefs. You and a couple others were on Chiefs Island, like for the conference. So tell me what you're thinking right now.
Yeah, I think the most interesting part about this game, Adam, is like this is really like depending on how much weight you put on what you see in the playoffs, what you see towards the end of the year versus what you've seen for the whole season, and for me, like I handicap the playoffs differently than I handicap the regular season. I handicap the Super Bowl differently than I do the playoffs because it's a different game. It's a way different experience. There's 2 weeks to prepare. You have the extended halftime. It's completely different. And I think that there are just a lot of intangibles here. Like if you look at the stats, like all the quantitative data, it's going to point to the 49ers, and that's why you see a lot of people taking the 49ers at this short number. But there's just so many intangibles here, like with the Chiefs and their experience. And this is one game, Adam, that like Kyle Shanahan is at a coaching disadvantage. Like the 49ers don't have the better coach. They don't have the better head coach. They definitely don't have the better defensive coordinator. Steve Spagnuolo has been in 6 Super Bowls. Like he beat the undefeated Patriots. He beat Shanahan before. So I think all that kind of factors into it. And then you look at the quarterback position. You had experienced Patrick Mahomes versus Brock Purdy. But when I look at this from a side perspective, I don't have a bet yet because I don't think we're getting good value with the Chiefs. Like we're not getting fair market value with the Chiefs at 2. If this thing gets to 3, I will play the Chiefs. My only bet right now is on the total, which we can discuss. But I think that, the Chiefs, if this moves to 3, I'll bet the Chiefs. But I felt like a better way to attack it was through the total instead of taking the Chiefs at a discount.
So what are you looking at then for the total? Because I saw people right away were like, oh, over. What are you on that side? Or you actually been doing a lot of contrarian overs this entire postseason. It's been working out really well for you.
Yeah, I really do like the over. So San Francisco, when the closing total has been under 48, San Francisco's been over in their last 5 games, right? Going back to week 11 of the season. But not only that, it's, what's the story of this game? It's the fact that we have these 2 coaches that are, probably the 2 best play callers in the modern era of football, and now they're going head to head. So I expect both teams to start fast here with points on the board. Kansas City has scored touchdowns on their first drive in 3 of their last 4 games. If we exclude week 18, right? Week 17 against the Bengals, touchdown first drive, right? Against Miami in the playoffs, touchdown first drive. Buffalo held them to a field goal, touchdown first drive against the Ravens. Right now, Andy Reid has 2 weeks to design a script against this 49ers defense that is just letting everybody run up and down the field on them. And I know, a lot of people want to talk about, hey, it's only 2 weeks. San Francisco, look at what they did throughout the duration of the season. I don't care what you did in October. I don't care what you did in November. Like we never do that in the regular season. It's never like week 14 do we say, oh, but remember what that team did in week 8? Like we got to, just handicap them off this. And I think that's where like a lot of people are kind of getting caught up in what they saw, for the majority of the regular season out of this 49ers team because they're not the same. So I think the Chiefs are going to score early. That's going to set the tone. You can get Chiefs to score touchdown on their first drive at like plus 250. I think that's an incredible bet.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that one. You can also get San Francisco to punt plus 115, which I really like. Like you look at Steve Spagnuolo, all the things he's done. You're giving him 2 weeks to design, a game plan to stop Brock Purdy on his first drive in the Super Bowl when he has, whatever jitters or whatnot. Like all it takes is like one penalty or one negative play to kill a drive. And I think the Chiefs defense can come up with that. Now, through the course of the game, I played the over. I think San Francisco is going to score. I think they're going to be able to run the football. It's going to open things up for Purdy, but I don't expect it to happen on the first drive. And that's really why I like the over. I think that, the San Francisco, if you like Kansas City to win the game, right? How does that happen? Like, I know Shawn was on here and he gave a score that's under Chiefs, but I don't think it happens that way. Like, I think that San Francisco is certainly going to get into the 20s. Just
his,
like
by the way,
Buffalo
it'd be slightly under. Just I think his would work out to.
Yeah, it was close, right? Yeah, it was close.
It's close. So yeah, he expects something.
Yeah, right in the ballpark. But what I'm saying is, I guess where I disagree with that score he gave is, I don't think they can hold San Francisco to 17. Like, I think if Kansas City is going to win the game, they're going to have to score 28, 31, 35, like in that range. And if they do that, this game's going over. It's going over. There's no weather. We're indoors. It's climate control. Both head coaches, Reed and Shanahan, get an extended halftime to kind of devise up, make adjustments. And that's what these games are. It's counter punch, it's punch, counter punch, punch, counter punch. And I just think that both teams are going to be able to run the football. I think Pacheco is going to have a huge game against this 49ers defense. So I think KC moves the ball. I don't think the San Francisco defense is very good. So I think both teams scored a pretty high clip here. I wouldn't be surprised if both teams got into the 30s. I mean, listen, last year, you're an Eagles fan. You saw it. There were 73 points in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like the Eagles were up at halftime. Mahomes said, okay, I'm going to come out and now score every time I touch the ball.
Trigger warning, because you and I were texting all ready to go down to Broad and had stuff in my car.
Yeah, we're going to go to the parade at halftime. And they scored every time they touched the ball. He scores a touchdown in the second half, and that's the kind of, and he didn't have Tyreek Hill. Like, yes, he had Juju Smith-Schuster. Now he doesn't. Sure. Okay.
Sure,
he's got Rashee Rice. I like him better.
I do too.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to score a ton here. I think both teams. And the other thing, too, is the game is officiated differently. It's officiated to induce scoring. They want points. They want, stats. Like, that's what they want. They don't call holding. You heard San Francisco complaining about it all week, about last time they're in the Super Bowl and they didn't get the holding calls. They're not getting them here. So I think we're going to get a lot of points.
Yeah, I took I was and I was surprised it was plus money. FanDuel had both teams to score a touchdown in both halves, which doesn't even need to hit the over. We're only talking about 28 points here, plus 125. I took that just because I'm with you. I think that big face bets welcome. I do think that there's going to be scoring in this game. I don't think that look, you have one of the greatest scripted play coaches of all time, probably, in Andy Reid, having, again, like you said, 2 weeks to do stuff. And Shanahan, and Shanahan with what has been an all-star lineup of folks. It's still CMC, still probably the offensive player of the year. And he's still got Debo, who I've been kind of pivoting in terms of getting some San Francisco players. I've been really pivoting towards Debo because Debo was, quote, 50-50 as in his health 2 weeks ago. I don't even think they showed the entire playbook, and the dude was just all over the field creating stuff and making things happen. So pivoting a little bit, we got you on the total. What's you had mentioned a little bit about Pacheco. It's hard to not love a Rutgers guy. Give me a couple of props and things that you're looking at, and they don't have to be just player stuff. We're also just anything cool and fun that you've kind of seen out there that you want to let people know about.
Yeah, so I gave you, KC first drive touchdown plus 250. Another one I like is Pacheco, right? Plus 100 plus yards, plus it's like plus 290, plus 300 now. So you get him to go over that. I think Pacheco is going to have a monster game. We saw Detroit being able to run up and down the field on this 49ers defense. I think Andy Reid has shown a commitment to, bring in multiple tight ends, to really running the football. And I think both teams, I think that's why we're getting a high scoring game, because third downs are going to be manageable here. These teams are going to be able to run on each other. I think that's going to, help the total that way. Another one I like, Rashee Rice first touchdown. I definitely think we need to target Kansas City players for first touchdown, because I don't think San Francisco is going to have success on their first drive. Talked about that bet. They're the ones I really like. The Purdy interception is good, I think, at minus. It was at minus 120 a little earlier in the week.
It's almost flat. Like him and Mahomes are both like, it's manageable. It's like, I think Mahomes is like minus 109, and we have Evan came on early, and Evan was like Mahomes interception, and then Shawn came on and said Purdy interception, multiple. So yeah, I mean, it's like usually these are things that for someone who's been throwing them like for the last 5 games at an unreal propensity, it's still only minus 119, I think.
Yeah, and it's going to be like tighter windows. Like Kansas City's, everyone talks about all week. This story has been San Francisco's wide receivers and how physical they are and whatnot. But I'm telling you, like Snead's a dog, man. Like they think that these guys are going to walk over these corners in Kansas City. That's not going to happen in this game. I think they're going to be on them. It's going to be tight windows, and I think there's going to be scoreboard pressure. Like that's how Kansas City won against Baltimore. They scored early. Monken lost his mind, started calling the game like they're down 30 points because he knew Patrick Mahomes can score every time he touches the ball, right? I don't think Shanahan's going to fall for the same trap, right? I think he's going to stick to the running game, which is going to help them. But I do think that it's a strong possibility that Purdy's playing behind a negative game script, and I think that could definitely lead to interceptions.
Third straight game that he would end up doing that. So I got Snead up. What do you think? Plus 650 for Snead to be the interception on the defensive side on MGM. What do you think?
Just to get one interception?
For him to have one interception for like defensive interception for a specific player for him, plus 650.
Oh, I like it. I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Plus
all right.
Yeah.
I think that one's gonna get that's gonna get added probably in there. If you want, there's some places that offer him. If you do think the pick 6 happens on Caesars, Jarius Snead is 35-1 to bring it all the way back. I don't necessarily think that I'm into that, but I liked his tackles and assists. I just think that dude's a dog.
He's good,
people,
man. He's so good.
People complained about that Zay Flowers thing and ignored the fact that like Snead made the right play at the right time and caused that fumble. It's like, yeah, you can say what you want about like Zay Flowers, like fumbling and having his own miscues, but man, like you're taking away from
he made the play. Yeah, it's a defensive play. Like if a defensive end does that to the quarterback, everyone will be like, what a play. You know what I mean? But the corner does it to the wide receiver, and all of a sudden it's just like stroke of luck that just happened, and that's nonsense. It was a tremendous, one of the best defensive plays of the year. So I think this Kansas City defense is good, but they are vulnerable. Like they can't get bullied with the run game, and I think Shanahan's going to go right after them. So I think both offenses have success, and to me, it's just the reason why I like Kansas City to win the game. But I bet the total is that I feel like there's just less variance there. There's just less variance. It's just more of a solid bet. Like I think that a lot of the outcomes with Kansas City winning are going to push this game over the total because I do think San Fran is going to score. I don't think Purdy's going to be perfect. I think it's going to be a lot like the games that we saw in the playoffs. Like Purdy won't be perfect. San Fran's still going to score a lot. And, they're either going to come close and, fall short or win the game. But I just couldn't, like, if it gets to 3, I'll play the Chiefs. But I just felt like I'm not getting fair market value there, where I think I'm getting a little bit of a discount with the total.
Did you have any like non-cop outs and things like that? Did you have any futures that like kind of survived up till now or anything like that for this?
No, I'm done. I didn't have either of these teams in the Super Bowl, man. I had Ravens stuff that died, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I didn't think the Chiefs could do it. I'll be honest with you. Like, I didn't. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Like, we're looking at like next year, like Super Bowl odds. Like, if Mahomes wins with this supporting cast, like, how can you not bet him at like plus 650 or 7-1, whatever he is now, to win the Super Bowl next year?
Nope, I agree.
Like, it just seems like he's like, how do you not make them the favorite to win? I think it's kind of crazy. But again, it's they got to win the game first. But I think that it's a little bit, people are just putting too much into what we saw the entire year and not enough into what we're seeing in the playoffs, because it's a different game. And this is Kyle Shanahan in a game where he is not the best coach. And I think that's speaks volumes, especially Spagnuolo. Like the things that he's done, 6 Super Bowls, like this is number 6 for him, man. So I think all that stuff is getting underrated. All the intangibles, it's that you don't want to base your handicap on that alone, but they are very, very significant in this type of game.
Yeah, it's you had come on here a couple weeks ago as we got ready. It was for the conference final. But yeah, it was definitely for it's for the divisional. It's right before the Green Bay game. And you said, Shanahan gets tight in these games. And look, I agree. And I have full disclosure. Like I said, I have my future survived. In fact, I have a great one that's Niners over KC. But you know me as an Eagles fan, I can't root for the Niners. So all Cerebus Paribus, I'm on the Chiefs. So yeah, I think they have the better coach. I think they have the better QB. I think that you kept saying it and trumping this, but the defensive side of things, this defense on the San Francisco side has been a problem against worse quarterbacks than what they are going to face on Sunday.
Yeah. And you think about it, like, the way I see the game playing out, the defense that gets the big stops is able to get stops is going to win, right? And it sounds like very basic, but who are you more comfortable with, like, trailing? If their team's trailing, who are you more comfortable with at quarterback, Mahomes or Purdy, right? Mahomes. From the defensive coordinator side, like, who are you more comfortable with that's going to make negative plays happen, Spagnuolo or Wilkes? Like, I'm more comfortable in Spagnuolo. He's sending people from all over the place, and that's all it takes is like one big sack, and then all of a sudden it's 3rd and long. The team's got a punt. Like, those are the little things. Like, people, like, just look at stats and trends. You have to think about the drives and how the game's really going to play out. And I think that's really what kind of pushes me to the Chiefs. And if it gets to 3, I'll play the Chiefs, but I don't want to. I feel like I'm not getting the best of the number here. Like, I'm not getting fair market value. So I think that the game's definitely going to go over. I think, it could be high 50s.
Alt over 56.5, I believe, was plus 380 on FanDuel.
Yeah,
I was looking at that earlier. That's only another touchdown and a field goal more. It's not even. It's a little bit less than that.
So 10 points get you there.
So give us your score prediction and then bringing in another Eagles fan as you exit. What's your score prediction for the game on Sunday? I know.
I'm going to say 27-24. I'll say 27-24 Chiefs.
All right, there you go. As I have done since I started, I will go from Eagles fan to Eagles fan to another Eagles fan. Shayne Trail in here. Mark, tell everybody where they can find you. And again, thanks for coming by, dude.
Absolutely. So you can find me. You get all my picks at the Matthew Berry Fantasy Life Bet Tracker. Go on the website. Tons of great Super Bowl content. You get my picks there. You get the whole team's picks. Absolutely crushing it. Matt Freeman, the gang. Matt LaMarca, Jeff Ulrich. Just crushing it on props. Underdog picks. Everything you need is right on the website. So you can go check me out there. Or you can follow me at x_Drumheller. On Twitter all the time. Obviously, do some fill-in work for BetQL app, so you can see me there as well.
And you got a good podcast too, dude.
Yes, Bring Home the Hardware with Kate Constable. All about the awards markets. Now that football is wrapping up, pivoting to basketball. So we've been dipping our toes in there, having some great conversations. So make sure you subscribe to that. It's on the Believe Network, but you can subscribe wherever you get your podcast. That hits every Thursday. So we'll have another episode tomorrow. It's going to be a good one.
Nice. Well, Mark, thanks for coming by, dude.
Absolutely. Give him hell, Shayne.
Thanks, Mark. Good seeing you, Mark.
All right.
Shayne, what's going on, buddy?
What's up? How you doing, Adam? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. We just went. So Evan is a Cowboys fan, so we kicked off with him, and then had Sean Green on, who's obviously a Birds fan. I got Mark, and then I got you, and then actually, I think Jovan comes right after this, and Stephie's a Giants fan, so we won't care about her. But dude, so you tell me right now, what are you thinking for this game? What do you got? Who's your side that you like, and tell me why?
I'm going to be taking the Chiefs. I'm more torn on taking the Chiefs spread or money line versus taking the Chiefs over the 49ers.
Tell me more about this.
So in the last 10 or 15 years, I don't want to misspeak, but I believe it's 10. Don't quote me directly on 10 or 15. The spread, when it's under 4.5, has not mattered in the Super Bowl. You simply just pick the winner of the game and you cover the spread. So you can right now. We saw the Chiefs go down to what? To 1.5 at some shops, and now it's back up to 2.
Back up to 2.
I don't see
which
it
is a
going back.
dead number. Which is a dead number for everybody.
I don't see it going back down to 1. I think that the move was already made. Whoever wanted it down there, I think it stays at 2. I think closer to game time, we might see a 2.5, 3, but I don't even think that's going to happen. I think we see is 2.5. So I'm more torn on knowing that the spread really doesn't matter. You simply have to pick the winner. I'm more torn on laying the money line or the points. 2 is kind of a dead number. 2.5 is more appeasing, but as of now, I'm just leaning towards taking the KC money line. I think they're the better team. And we all know the famous Andy Reid with an extra week of prepare, and Andy Reid off a bye is killer. And that's technically in playing the scenario. Andy Reid is very, very creative in games like this.
Mark came on. That was his cap too. It's you have one of the which, by the way, folks, like, beers up, or for me, it's a high noons up. Like, you're allowed to, for guests that are just watching now that are coming on, you can bring cocktails. We can do whatever we want on the internet. But Mark had said, look, you have one of the best scripting coaches of all time. He really liked Chiefs to score on their first drive. He likes Rashee Rice's first touchdown. He liked points in the game. To your point about, the spread's not mattering. This is kind of giving me like a live idea, but the spread doesn't matter. And we look at this and we go, because I am, full disclosure, I'm on Chiefs plus 2.5. I took it right away.
2.5 good number. Good number, 2.5.
But look, man, if you do Chiefs by 2.5, that's what you really should bet, because it's plus 128. Like, plus for Chiefs to win by 3, which again, you just made the point that when a team does this, like, teams aren't winning it by 3, they're winning it outright. Chiefs by 3 is plus 154. Like, you want to get sharp? Because that sounds like that's the bet if you like the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's pretty much what my this whole week I've been going on my stream saying, everybody's asking, are you taking the Chiefs or are you taking the Chiefs spread? I'm really still torn. I mean, I also believe that, the Super Bowl is the one event where it costs you to bet early rather than late. So I'll be betting most of my monies closer to kickoff when all the public money comes in and everybody else scrambles for their bets. And you'll see a lot of live movement the morning of, the night of, and probably honestly an hour before kickoff. So watch out for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, are you still a little hurt? Just like, I mean, I'm a little bit hurt that, last year this time, Nick, look at this, man. Look, Nick Henyon chiming in on the chat. We had our Eagles immediately. They opened as dogs, and then they opened as faves. They flipped to dogs immediately and back. A little bit still hurt by how that all worked out, but I do think that a good approach when you're looking at any of the prop stuff is, if you wanted player overs, you took them last week. If you want player unders, you wait till the end. I mean, some of these things you're probably going to get. Pacheco opened at 61. He's going to be, I mean, Pacheco might be a bad example because I do like him to the moon, but like, a lot of these guys are going to have 70-yard middle attempts. What are you kind of looking at from a player prop perspective? And then even just, is there anything fun that you do? I know you famously are like, nah, man, I do what this line and this data tells me to do, even if it irritates sharp people that put their profile photo as things that are not them, and those kind of people that pride themselves on bullying, but actually look like they were thrown in lockers. I couldn't possibly be throwing shade at anybody. But anyway, I digress. What are you kind of looking at for props and stuff this weekend? If there's anything that you have been looking at.
So we all seen the numbers coming out on Twitter, the estimates of how much money is actually being wagered on the Super Bowl. It's part of the reason why I'm betting unders. I think unders are a great thing to bet in the Super Bowl. Unders the day on the Super Bowl date are also tremendous. So I'll be looking at a Christian McCaffrey. I want to mention, fading the superstars in big games is a thing. It's a theory behind it, and you can get pretty in depth behind it. But I'll be betting Christian McCaffrey under 18.5 carries at plus 115. That was last time I saw at DraftKings. The minus side, the over side around that is minus 130. So I wouldn't be surprised come game day we're sniffing a 19.5, and I'll unload more then. But as of now, I took my position on 18.5 at plus 115.
I like this. Look, he's gone under it 7 out of his last 10. He's got a hit rate this season. His last 5, it's been 80%. And also, if you like the Chiefs, chances are the Niners aren't going to continue to just run the ball. They're going to probably be throwing it to McCaffrey. I mean, 19 carries is a lot.
19 carries is a lot for a game like this. And from my calculations, he has never hit this in a 49ers loss. 0 for 14.
We can check it. We have that kind of technology. Can we do it?
Let's
Like,
see. In a 49ers loss.
in a loss, if he has lost by, I don't know how this works, but if he has lost by, I've never actually played around with this. Yeah, he's never hit this in a loss. He has never hit this in a loss as a Niner.
Never even gone above 15 as a Niner.
Never even got above 15. So if you really want to short him, and I'm going to add this as it all. If you guys really want to short him, I guess we don't have the alt unders here. I know ESPN does. I know Bet365 does. We are looking at, you want under 16, you want under 15 and a half carries for Christian McCaffrey. Probably, dude, parlay that with Chiefs money line.
Also, another angle I'm looking at here. We know creativities in the Super Bowl is a thing, right? That's where the Philly special was created. Deebo Samuel over 1.5 rushing yards is also plus money.
So, okay, back to that. So I was going to ask you that. Would you classify Deebo as a superstar in your fate of superstar?
Yes, just because his versatility, points wise, yes, because he runs the ball, catches the ball, he's a red zone target. Something I would definitely consider a superstar fantasy wise, just because his production.
His fantasy score, by the way, if you guys are playing on PrizePicks, over 14 is what they're listing as his fantasy score, which he's only hit in 2 of his last 5. So, okay, if we are looking then, so that, I think that McCaffrey angle that we actually just sharp labbed out. I think I'm going to, after this, bet the alt McCaffrey under with the Chiefs by -2.5. The folks at home who's got a calculator, if you can find that out, what that's going to be. No, that's basically, I would imagine, because look, if his under 18.5 is plus 110, under 15.5 has got to be plus 290, plus 250. Okay, so
it's juice to the over. I guarantee, come closer to the Super Bowl, it's going to get even juicier for us.
So if you get that and you do that with the Chiefs by 2.5, that's probably turning it into at least a 6-1 play.
Yeah. So essentially, my McCaffrey play stemmed from, I believe, the Chiefs win. It kind of like falls down like a waterfall, like you know how those things, like the diagram,
how waterfalls work, or
yeah, pretty much work. It goes down, yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick the winner first, and I picked the Chiefs, and I was like, okay, what happens to these 49ers players when they lose? And that's kind of what I went with. And also another thing I'm looking at is Brock Purdy. I was one of the first people I didn't even realize it to snag under 31.5 pass attempts. I believe it's gone only at ESPN. I believe it's a little juicy now, but I got -130 for 31.5 pass attempts under for Purdy.
Let's see what we got. I mean, it's -145. I mean, look, he's the only times that he's gone. It's funny because the only times he gone over it was the time that I bet against him having not done it. He did it he went over it in the Baltimore blowout. And he went over it against Green Bay, but otherwise he's only gone over it, I believe, 4 times total in his entire career. Or 5 times total in his entire career.
This Chiefs defense is very much so slept on. As we saw now where they made it, they had the Chiefs had one of the hardest paths to get here, and they're here not because of Mahomes, but I truly believe because the defense has held a lot of these powerful teams in check. So I definitely believe that the Packers defense and the Ravens blowout kind of skewed those red bars a little bit, but 31.5, I don't think he does 32 passes.
So, okay. So we like the under on Brock Purdy. And did you say you have a Deebo play that you liked as well? Or is there a Chiefs guy that you like?
I haven't priced it out yet, but if it correlates in a nice way where you can get Christian McCaffrey under 18.5 with the Deebo over 1.5, they were both plus money. I checked yesterday, so if you can get a nice number on them.
You're just fading all those guys. So is there anyone in the Chiefs that you do love? As I see that we've got Jovan backstage. So again, we're going Eagles fan to Eagles fan to Eagles fan. Everybody who is in this, and I see Harrison jumping. We got tons. I just flood this with Eagles fans. Tell me, so is there a Chiefs player that you like? Give me a Chiefs player that you might like or you might want to fade. And then let's get a score prediction too.
I haven't really necessarily looked at like I said, I'm really focused on the unders. I'm gonna hammer at Travis Kelce under receptions. It's like 6.5 now, so just another player. I'm gonna hit that on game day, probably under 7. But if I had to give you an over, it'd probably be Deebo. I think he's healthy, and like we all see the numbers, the 49ers offense, how poorly it is without him, and now they're getting him healthy. I think you can see him going off. If there's one 49er I give you to go over his expectations, it's Deebo.
Well, Debo, I was, texting a couple folks today that Debo is the guy that I want to actually buy in on the other side. So give me your score prediction. I'm going to flood this stage with the Eagles fans as I bring in Jovan, as I bring in Harrison. But Shayne, before you get out of here, give me a score prediction and tell everybody where they can find you.
For score prediction, I believe that 49ers defense is not that good. Their strength of schedule, defensive wise, they didn't play a good, strong schedule this year for me. So I can see like a 24-17 Chiefs or 27-17 Chiefs. I don't think it's necessarily as close as some people will believe.
Excellent.
And then you can find me at Shayne Trail on Twitter. My name is spelled with a Y, so it's SHAYNE and then Trail. And also at the Hall of Fame Fund. It's a Twitter page that I run. It's my company. So if you ever want to shoot me a DM or so, I'm always happy to talk.
How many more days till Nerfy season?
Oh, 50. Counted this morning. 50 days till Nerfy season. If you like betting Nerfies and Yerfies, I'm your guy.
Awesome. Well, Shayne, thanks for coming by. Go Birds. I hope and also go Chiefs. Sounds like.
Yeah, go Chiefs, go Bears. Andy Reid's a former Bird, right? We can vote. We can root for him. We're allowed.
Yeah, he only did well when he left, is what it seemed for when it comes to the postseason. But yes,
unfortunately, that is so true. Thanks,
right,
guys.
thanks for coming by, dude.
Good luck, guys.
Guys, Harrison and Jovan, welcome to the show. First time I've gotten you guys on, and but not the first time we've all potted, videoed, streamed, whatever together. But you guys are my guys, so thanks for coming by.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So for those who this is your first time meeting Jovan and Harrison, they are literally an encyclopedia of knowledge of every small school, every player. So I'm kind of going to take a little bit of a different skew on what I want to talk to them about for the game. So Harrison, you first. Harrison, by the way, knows more about HBCU players for any white dude that I've ever met in my life. It is he's the man. He just knows all these guys. But for real, tell me who are kind of players that you are watching in this game. Put aside any of the betting stuff, anything like that. You as a guy I trust a lot on just talent evaluation. Who's a guy that fantasy people out there might want to look at this guy's going to be good next year, things like that. Or who are you kind of expecting big games out of on the Chiefs side and then on the Niners side? And then Jovan, I'll go to you.
Well, first of all, Berg, appreciate you having us, man. Great to see you.
Man.
I'll start out with some Ivy League flair, man. I've heard some mention already. Justin Watson. I really like his odds for the Super Bowl. You look at his role in the Chiefs offense, had some Super Bowl experience already, just casually his third Super Bowl. Justin Watson's been in 3 Super Bowls now. Was with the Bucks back in 2020 when they beat the Chiefs, actually. So has some Super Bowl experience, 2 catches last year. Heard some mention, over 20 yards per reception. Like the odds on that. And then look at Kyle Juszczyk on the other side, a guy who's in a lot of the 49ers red zone packages, had a touchdown back in that Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl back in 2020, almost had 2, came down to the 1-yard line on a second one. So little Ivy League flair, a little fun prop bet. I know you mentioned that. Maybe some Ivy League action. Justin Watson, Kyle Juszczyk, maybe some anytime touchdowns, some yards plays, but those are 2 guys I'm watching.
I love it because you guys know, friend of the program, friend of all of us, Dan Newbert, another Philly guy, Reading Zone. He came on here for the first preview with Eric Pauly, and he said Kyle Juszczyk. This was on the Monday. This was back when Kyle Juszczyk's numbers were at 1 reception and 1 yard, and he said do it. And I believe now, he's at 4.5, which is still too low because he only catches 10 or more. Look, I'm loving the Justin Watson angle because I didn't even think about the fact that he was with the Bucks. So he's just kind of been there when needed. So what would you say kind of, we not attaching things to a record or things like that, but if you wanted to pick a play, would you like his receiving? You like his longest reception? Do you like his catch? What's kind of one Justin Watson part that you love?
I like longest reception. I mean, you think back to that first Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl, they had Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill took a lot of those shots deep downfield. They've looked to Justin Watson more than you would think in the vertical passing game. He's a guy who can get that, 30, 40-yard catch that can really, switch sides of the field for the Chiefs offense, something they like to do and something that I think San Francisco could be prone to if the Chiefs run the ball like I'm expecting them to with Isaiah Pacheco. You could see a shot to Justin Watson for 30-plus yards and then boom. There's your bet right there. So I like the Justin Watson angle in this game.
Justin Watson over 12.5 for his longest reception. Because look, he's going to catch it. If he catches any of them, he catches it. That's already 2/3 of his yards line is 15.5. So I love it. Jovan, same questions for you. Who are a couple players that you're kind of looking at? Are they Ivy League guys? Are they D3 guys? I know you go like for everyone else. Like we all did the NFL draft stuff together for FTN, and me, I'm just basic. I'm like, yeah, guys from Clemson or like guys from, and then like Jovan starts spitting about D3 dudes and like guys who played like a semester in Canada and did everything else. So. Well, first of all, before you answer, are there any CFL players playing in this game that you are aware of that are worth watching?
CFL players, top of my head, no. Luckily,
okay.
No.
All right, cool.
I was trying to think. Third string quarterbacks, practice squad guys, like who from Canada is sitting on that list?
So, who are some guys that you are looking at?
For me, Harrison already mentioned it. Justin Watson. I feel like that's been the favorite play tonight, just on the stream alone for what we've been, watching.
No, that's good. That's sharp, man.
Yeah, I know. I think last week, his line was at like 17.5, and then this morning I saw that ESPN at like 15.5 for like -125. So I was like, I'll take that instead of playing like the 16.5 or -120. So I took the over 15.5 because I felt same thing with Harrison, right? Like Chiefs wide receivers, like Mahomes really doesn't have a lot of faith in a lot of guys outside of like Kelsey and Rice and Watson. Just seems to be that guy. Like when the play breaks down, like he just knows where to be at. He knows where to sit into a zone, and that longest reception play definitely correlates with him getting over his receiver yards, because he's not going to be a guy where it's just like, all right, he's just going to sit at the sticks and he gets like 10 yards, right? Like he's going to like find a way to get like vertical or even go across the field for a pass. So I took over 15.5 receiving yards for him. And then sticking receiving wise for the Chiefs, I dabbled a little bit in MVS. I know that's a very dangerous game, even though
I don't think so. No, MVS has been reborn he's become he's their Debo in this playoffs.
Yeah, he's been that guy that they just, into the game to clinch it. They just tossed it right to him, and that's a lot of confidence.
His line set at 20. His line set at 20, man. He had 62 yards 2 weeks ago. Which by the way, I famously did call out as a ladder play, but neither here nor there. 62 yards, and he had a rush.
Yeah, so I took his receptions prop. I think it was at 1.5 on FanDuel, because I'm like, he's been getting 2 catches. I think he's at least hit 2 catches in this postseason alone in like back-to-back games, I think. So if he gets vertical, you got to think again, the Niners defense is going to try to take advantage and try to take away Rice, and they're going to try to take Kelsey out the game. Well, they're going to need somebody to take the top off the defense, and I feel like MVS could be that guy, especially if it's like Trevarius Ward versus Rice. I don't trust Ambry Thomas or, ABCD other corner on Valdez-Scantling, because we've seen these last 2 weeks against the Packers and even against the Lions, like those wide receivers with speed were able to get open and able to make plays.
Yeah, man. Look, his targets he's gotten. He had 2 for 2 last week, 4 targets against Buffalo and 2 receptions, 2 and 1, 3 and 1. Basically towards the end of the season, as things heated up, MVS was like, I'm not the guy who missed out on catching a ball and made it so that the Eagles won and then their season spiraled out of control. That's not me. But that was the beginning of the end. I also told people that because my wife got me, that Jalen Hurts, Kelly Green jersey. They never won another game after she got me that jersey. I think the Chiefs game was like, she got me that for my birthday, and that was the last one that they won. But this isn't a sob about the Eagles. By the way, shout out Sam Wagman, also an encyclopedia of a lot of useless knowledge, but it's actually pretty useful. Sam's one of our guys. No one gets to bully Sam other than me. If they do, I hear about it. That's it. But guys, so tell me, so we know about these when traders like you guys are both, it sounds like you guys are both on the Chiefs. You got any read on the total or anything like that, or anything else you're looking? Harrison.
I'll tell you my score prediction right now. I'm sitting
Yeah, do it.
24-20 Chiefs. So that kind of tells you where I'm at. I'm a little lower than some people. I think that's just kind of based on what I've seen these past few weeks in the playoffs. I think the Chiefs have a really stingy defense that's going to give the 49ers some problems. And I think at times their offense has sputtered. I mean, it hasn't been drive after drive success like you've seen some years from Kansas City. I think sitting around that 24-20 spot, I think that's a pretty safe place for the Super Bowl. We could see Mahomes put up 3 touchdowns in that range. Pacheco could score, but that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. 24-20 Chiefs.
24-20. I like it. I have I preemptively took Chiefs second half team total under for the game. Just right away, I put a half a unit on it just because I gotta pull it up. But the believe that they've done it. I believe it's hit like 10 straight times or something for this. Let's see the second half total over under. It's I added the 23.5. Yeah. Chiefs are like 9-1 to the under in the second half over their last 10. Jovan, give me a score prediction and and there's some other part of the total or some of the game flow that you're kind of looking at.
Oh man, score prediction. I don't like these. I'd rather just say who wins. Score prediction right now. I'll go 24-21. I don't think it'll be as high scoring as we saw last year's Super Bowl, right? Where it was in like the 30s and like nobody could get a stop or defense. I think, like Harrison says, I think both defenses step up. I think the Chiefs defense, I think the trends that we've seen in these last 2 Niners playoff games where Purdy getting off to a slow start and throwing a lot of, like everybody's been saying tonight, a lot of interceptable passes. He can't make those mistakes, but I'm pretty sure Spagnuolo will try to draw those mistakes out of him, especially with that defensive line, which leads me to this Karlaftis prop that I like for this game. I like
those defensive. We got sack props. We got sack prop. I mean, I'm assuming it's a sack prop, right? I mean, It's got to be. All right, what do we got? Give it to us.
I have George Karlaftis over a half sack. I got it at plus 140 at ESPN Bet, and I feel like every other book has been like minus 105, plus 110, and I was like, hold on, like there's no way at plus 140 with the way that this guy's getting off the edge, and that you think that the Niners, right? They're going to try to stop. You're going to try to like neutralize Chris Jones in the middle of that defensive line. So somebody has to eat, and Karlaftis has been eating. I even sprinkled a little bit on him to have the most sacks in the game too at plus 600 on BetMGM. I don't know if it's going to be like Coney Ealy type performance, but I think he could.
Hold on. How many? I mean, sacks. So sacks leader, you have him at 6-1. I mean, how many sacks do you think happen? That's probably almost a better bet than maybe even doing the sack on its own, because it's not as if the Niners have a bad offensive line. If he gets one, he could be the sack leader.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
So, dude, I like it. I'm putting this here. I did bet Karlaftis. I bet his sack prop early. I'll give a shout out to Birdman, who is a sack prop vulture. Not to play up the Birdman stuff. Nick Henny chiming in, letting everybody know Chris Jones sack leader. Also, plus 550 for Chris Jones to be the sack leader, and this dude has like wrecked people.
I think I saw Chris Jones sack prop at like plus 200 or something. Like that number is out there floating somewhere.
I don't even. I mean, how do they? Let's see what we got on here. Yeah, it's way too high. It's because for half a sack for him is higher than it is, is longer a number than it is for Karlaftis. Yeah, they still know it's still the same Chris Jones, right? He's not hurt, right? It's just this is wow. I mean, that's not well. So tied to this, like I think that they're gonna harass Brock Purdy. I like Brock Purdy over 3.5 rush attempts at plus 120. A shout out to Sean Green. He kind of like had me thinking about this. It's relatively game script proof because of this type of thing. I mean, he's Brock Purdy like will take sacks. He also will scoot. So but he also doesn't really know when to take the sack. And so I liked his attempts because it could be the end of the half, that sort of thing happens. But I think the Chiefs defense is going to be a problem. I know that guys who are watching, like we just had nonstop Chiefs steam, and look, we might all look square about it, but these are guys that know ball. I don't know ball, but these guys know ball, and everybody's given pretty compelling reasons. I mean, let's like stop him for a second, and I know, and like we got to let you guys go in a bit, and I think next we have Stephie Smalls somehow making an attempt to get in, but tell me, like, is there anything? How do you see that the nine, like, flip it around? What's the path that happens for the Niners to win this game? What sort of things should people look at if they think that they at the Niners win this? Like, who would go over on certain things? Jovan, you want to kind of kick us off if there's a method that you see for that?
Yeah, for the Niners, I feel like it's going to have to be a Kittle game. Like they're going to have to win the tight end against their linebackers, right? I think just knowing that pass rush, you're going to have to be a lot of quick passes. You're going to have to try to take advantage of Drew Tranquil, who's played tremendous this postseason in the middle of the field, but you're going to have to try to take advantage and get something there. I know everybody loves Debo and think Debo is like the X factor, but I truly believe the best wide receiver on that team and that offense is Brandon Ayuk. So I think you're going to have to get a monster game, from Ayuk, especially when he has the certain matchups in that game. So it's honestly, it's going to be a lot of short passes, dink and dunk. And, Brock Purdy has to be a game manager.
That's what he's been good at. Harrison, what's the path for the Niners?
Running the ball, lean on CMC. I mean, you guys mentioned it. We think the Chiefs are going to get after Brock Purdy. How do you defend against that? Run the ball effectively, set up your quick game, get Debo Samuel going in different ways. That's how I would attack it. Run the football, try to really lean on CMC, get that game going. And then defensively, make things extremely difficult for Mahomes. Disguise coverages, send different blitz packages, really make life just incredibly difficult. You want to send them into that extended halftime with a lot of work to do at halftime. You want to make the Chiefs really adjusting on the fly. So really just make life miserable for Mahomes, disguise a lot of things, and then offensively, run the ball, get the ball out of Purdy's hands quick. Let's make it an easy game for Brock Purdy. Let's not try to overcomplicate things in his first Super Bowl.
So I think you guys actually just kind of uncovered, like Shayne, who was on right before you all, pointed out, CMC does not go over his rushing attempts in Niners losses. And he actually never has gone over 15 in the Niners loss. So if you parlay an alt under of CMC rush attempts with the Chiefs by 3, and you parlay an over McCaffrey rush attempts with a Niners alt, you probably could create two sides to basically that are winning scripts for things to happen. Because as you said, if they're not able to run the ball and they're starting to use CMC too much in screens or trying to get the dink and dunk, that's going to be a problem, because that's like, Chiefs are really, really good at controlling yardage in those situations. They were tops in the league in scoring defense. I think it's just a bad recipe. I've also just not been unbiased, as you guys know, about players that I don't like. And, I think Brock Purdy looks like, they say like, oh, he's the best quarterback on the roster. Yeah, cool. You have Sam Darnold too. Like, I mean, that's sort of like, this is what you guys are looking at. I think Brock Purdy looks green in the headlights. And we have, look, I'm already seeing, we are breaking the trend of Eagles fans, because we have Stephie Smalls that is in the virtual backstage live from Vegas. So guys, I'm going to bring her on right now. Stephie,
what's up?
What's going on? All right.
How's it going?
Good. So, guys, we had Jovan and Harrison. Guys, real quick, let everyone know where they can find you, and then we'll stop slandering the Giants and things, because Stephie's really good about not ever slandering any other NFC East teams. Tell everyone where they can find you, Jovan, and then Harrison, and then Stephie, we can talk some game.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at Jovan10. You can follow Total Sports Live at Total Sports Live, totalsportslive.com, and check out the podcast on all your streaming platforms.
Harrison, where are we going to find you?
Yeah, likewise. Harry Brown-Russo on Twitter, and then Total Sports Live.
Guys, thanks for coming by.
All right.
Appreciate you, Berg.
Yeah,
Have
dude.
a good one, guys.
You too. Stephie, live from Vegas. What's going on? Good. This is kind of my my fun show that I do for Outlier, and they let me do whatever. But I had all your friends on earlier. I had Shawn Green kicking things off. It was great. It's great.
I'm gonna meet up with Shawn. I'm going to dinner with Shawn in a couple hours here. So
There you go. Of course, the 10 p.m. dinner that you guys are doing because it's 7 there. So, all right, as a voice on the ground, what's been going on there? Give me the vibe, and then I want to get your take on the game. I want to get a prop, and I want to get a score. But first off, vibe in Vegas. What you got?
Vibe is high. Vibe is always high. I'm at Circa, mainly at Circa. People that
Nice.
I mean, if you follow me, you know that Circa is kind of like my second home. So I don't stray too far away. I will say way more Kansas City fans than 49ers. I've only seen one. I've only seen one 49ers fan the entire time I've been here. I don't know if that's a bad omen or what it is.
I don't know. I
yes.
think 49ers fans are pretty fair weather and they just kind of show up when they need to. But,
they're
I'm
like,
biased.
we can wait till the weekend. We're not
Yeah,
that
yeah,
diehard. We'll be, exactly. 100%. But the vibes are good. The vibes are very good.
Nice. So, okay. So are you sensing that, like, look, we've had Chiefs, Packers. I'll put you on the spot. Have you copped out of picking a side, or are you on the Chiefs or the Niners? Who do you think wins this game?
I told myself I was going to wait until the end of the week to like fully make a decision. It's really hard to not take Mahomes at plus money, right? Like, how do you,
We're saying,
how do you go about that? Because you kind of, you'll feel like a donkey if you don't take him and they win, right? Because you had the opportunity to take him as an underdog. But then there's this little piece of me, and maybe it's because I'm a Giants fan, and maybe I can guarantee this is why. Maybe Purdy is the guy that gets it done the way that Eli kind of did with Brady. Like maybe there's this, I don't know. I hate it. Beginning of the week, me was very much Chiefs. I'm starting to lean the other way.
I mean, look, the argument that I've heard for the Niners is that we've only gotten the worst part of the Niners, and it still was the best team all season.
Yeah.
But and they still look, if you put their skill players up against the Chiefs skill players, like people are going to take a Kittle and a grouping of Kittle, CMC, Debo every day over Kelsey and Rice. I mean, it doesn't matter.
And their defense though did not play well those last two games. So it's like, do they show up at full force as we've seen them, like what they've done all season long? It's funny because the Chiefs now get this, they're kind of cushy. Like they get to the playoffs and then it's like, oh, we'll turn on the Jets now, which is beautiful. Like good for them. It must be nice to coast to the playoffs and then decide you're going to play as hard as you can. But I mean, I'm kind of leaning the under though in this game. Like it's starting to,
let's look at some stuff. You're throwing it under. Okay, so you are on the under. You like the regular under 47.5, or you kind of going alt? What are you thinking here?
I think 47.5 is fair. Like I think taking the under there is fine. I mean, can't you see this? And I'll ask you because I kind of see them starting out slow a little bit, both these teams. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think that the Chiefs can start out fast because, I've said this, I think that Andy Reid is just one of the better scripting plays coaches. So, like, I could see the Chiefs coming out and scoring on their first drive, but it's 7-0 for a bit. Like, I got problems with this first half Niners offense. I got problems with this Niners defense. And, like, I got problems with the Niners in general just because, I'm a jaded jerk Eagles fan. But, yeah, exactly. So, but the thing is, I told others, I already took like the second half under. Mark Drumheller came on and said, the Super Bowl is built for points, and he is right. I mean, these are two offenses that can do all that. But in terms of like opening drives, it's the Chiefs that I think are going to score on that opening drive. I don't feel the same way about the Niners. Maybe that's fair.
I think I could agree with you on that. If it's going to be one of the teams, it feels very much like the Chiefs will score.
Are there any like props that you kind of look at? Actually, I mean, breaking it away. I mean, I should have asked you this before. Are you just Super Bowl this week? Are you going to Waste Management, or are you kind of? I mean, this is the Super Bowl. This is really your Super Bowl because it sort of combines.
I'm not doing Waste
Management.
Right. I know I'm not, but I wish I was. Like I do love Waste Management. It has a special place in my heart. I think a couple days in Vegas is that's enough for me. Your liver can only take so much, I think.
Well, I was watching Full Swing with my wife, and like she's getting more into golf, and like they do the whole thing with Waste Management, and I was like. And before we watched, I was like, oh man, I really want to go to Waste Management. And then it shows, and it's all it is beer showers. And she's like, this literally looks like Coachella, but golf. I'm like, it is. It's
so much fun. It's so much fun. Hole 16 is a blast. Last year, they, not to talk too much about golf. I know we're talking about Super Bowl, but last year they changed the cups that they were handing the beers out in so that you couldn't throw them on to onto the green. But what ended up happening was everyone was stacking them into those like snakes. So it almost it didn't even matter.
And XFL.
Yeah, they'll find a way to cause chaos there in Phoenix.
Yeah. So I mean, look, it's a big week for all that.
Yeah.
So then you tell me then back to the Super Bowl. Are there because there are some cross sport props and things like that. I don't know if you've taken a look at anything, but what are some props and stuff that you've been looking at this week? They can be player props. They can be just some of the fun ones. Have you been? Have you followed Shawn Green into the Reba McEntire will show cleavage?
I'm all in.
That he is pushing.
I'm all in with the cleavage. Unfortunately, I guess for me, heard Shawn saying like Google. I did Google. I'm gonna admit right now, I Googled Reba cleavage. Like I did.
There you go. This is going to ruining your search history from now on.
Look at me, because I'm so innocent. I do like the Reba cleavage one. I've been pretty invested in this Usher first song, which we can get to in a second. But you know who I'm really in on is George Kittle. I think he's getting overlooked. I think he's getting overlooked far too much, sitting there at 47.5, receiving yards 48.5, depending on what you're looking at. Longest reception, 20.5, that line is at. He's matched up with probably Mike Edwards, I would assume. Beautiful matchup for him, chef's kiss. And, you look at what he's done. He's gone over his longest, 6 of the last 7. So even when he's not heavily involved.
Crushed this. Look at this.
He's crushed it. Like, unbelievably crushed it. It's not even something that, like, he will go over this number. It's probably my favorite bet is him to go over that longest reception. But even the yards, like 2 of the last 4 starts, he went over it. But then you look at when he goes over, he flies over. And it's like the line is always set at this adorable under 50, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden you see 115 yards. But I think that this is a really good game because I think what they'll do is shut down Ayuk. Like I like Ayuk's unders. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I've
heard a lot of that. His snap share goes way down when Debo is alive.
So bad. Yeah. When Debo is on the field, we're talking a totally different. It's not the same situation. And he doesn't go over that often either. And you saw that Green Bay game where if you were someone that bet on him, that game very frustrating. Yep. Dropped a lot of balls, had a lot of targets, but didn't go over his reception prop. So I think his longest reception is way too rich, 24.5. I kind of like the under there as well. And then you look at his yards. I'll probably wait till the end of the week to take it because I think it'll creep a little bit past 60.5. Yep. But yeah, without Debo there, the last 3 starts he had, he's only gone over this 60.5 once. It's not as impressive. And I think that, Kansas City knows, take him out of the game. Like Snead can be on him, make sure he's not involved, and then worry about the rest of the team because they could really eat them alive through Ayuk. He's always a threat, but I think they can take him away in this game.
If he doesn't catch that long ball in the conference championship, he pretty much is invisible for the 3rd straight game.
Exactly. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I didn't realize you were such a longest reception connoisseur.
I'm obsessed. I have a problem.
Love it. Well, look, I'm adding the Ayuk under 24.5 on that to, we're going to put out a slip that has, I'm not going to be able to label it, but people could just be like, oh, that's a whole bunch of plays. And someone was on the over and someone was on the under and they can just go with it. But we are, what I wanted to get from you though, before you go, I know that you are busy. Really appreciate it. 1, going to get a score prediction. And then 2, for the few people that have never seen you before, you got to tell us where to find you. But first I need a score prediction.
I go back and forth. So I'm very torn. I've given out 2. I'm such a little cheater. I've given out a couple. I like the idea of like a 2017, 21-17 type game. But then also I like the idea of this being super close and it being like a 24-23 type situation. So I'll lean the 24-23. I'm going to do that because I hope this game isn't as boring as I think it might be, unfortunately. But if you want to find me on anything, it's at Stephie Smalls with 3 L's. And you can find me at Stephie Smalls Show, just recorded live from Stadium Swim we'll record tomorrow as well. So yeah, everything's on my Twitter. I post it there, and I appreciate you having me on. I'm glad I could make it work. Computer broke. I'm like, oh shit, I promised to do this.
Nah, dude, I got a high noon. We're just kind of doing whatever.
Yeah,
this is
we were doing
like,
our thing. I got it. Listen,
it's all good. So, well, look, Stephie, I appreciate you coming by and doing this.
Yeah.
Say hi to Shawn. I'm about to bring on Scott, because like all I do is bring on SGPN guys into this.
I love it.
So
well, they're the best. So
they are. Thanks a lot for coming by.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me. See ya.
Yep. Oh, look at this. Scott Reichel.
How's it going? Long time no see. How's it going?
Yeah,
I was trying to make you laugh backstage for the last 5 minutes.
You were making me laugh backstage.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was working or not. How's it going?
No, it was totally working. By the way, like, I have Chipotle sitting on my table that's been sitting there for an hour and a half that I've wanted to eat, but I haven't. And also, you and I haven't done our normal like Zoomings because I was traveling. It's kind of impacted all plays.
Yeah, you had like responsibilities or something. I can't even.
I know. It looks like, by the way, my can't miss Bogdanovich missed. So
I saw he went 2 of 10 from 3. So that happens.
All right, so he tried. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, and he got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter. So
didn't even matter. Oh, look at that. Is that it? Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, so it was a Lincoln Park thing. Yes,
Lincoln Park reference.
That is correct. Yeah.
All right, so you've already recorded. Have you already recorded your SGPN show for football for the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
or?
I did the NFL show earlier today. I'm not sure if it got posted. I don't think it did yet. So still exclusive information, but it's on YouTube.
All right. Well, it's fine. Shawn gave out. Shawn said he was giving out. He wasn't going to give out the score till tomorrow, but he gave it out for Outlier show. Tell me, we close with that, but tell me what your take is overall on the game. Tell me which side that you are liking, or are you going to play the role of, I don't want a side, I just want a really good game?
No, you brought me on the show. I'm going to give you an answer. What kind of answer is that? I just want a good game. Come on, you got to pick a side at this point.
Some people do that.
I'm not some people. Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I'll take them to win the game. I think it's going to be close. Truth is, it wouldn't shock me if the Niners actually lost this game by potentially 10, because they've gotten off to some bad starts. The Chiefs, we know, are very good early in games, so I actually don't mind the Chiefs' first half. But I do think that the Chiefs are going to get the job done. The Niners have not impressed me at all so far in the playoffs. They were favored by a bunch against Green Bay, didn't cover, probably should have lost the game. They were favored by a lot against the Lions, trailed by a lot, should have lost the game, found a way to win. How many quarters have they actually looked impressive in the playoffs? 3? Maybe 2?
Probably. I don't even know. On that Green Bay game, it was really like half of that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, and the Packers and the Lions should have won their respective games. They just self-destructed. The Packers missed a field goal. They also had a 4th down QB sneak that failed. And the Lions had whatever that was in the final 7 minutes of the third quarter where everything went wrong. So the Chiefs, I think, have just beaten better opponents, and they've looked good doing it for the most part. Now, the offense has been really bad in the second half, partially by design. It's been that way all season long. So I like the under in this game, which is why I am expecting a close game, because I don't see many points in general. But I do think Chiefs win 24-20, give or take. I think it'll be a one-possession game. I think that it's going to come down to the wire to some degree. Maybe you'll end up seeing the Chiefs put together a touchdown to ice it, but I do think that at the end of the day, if you're going to give me Shanahan in a big game versus Reed, you're going to give me Mahomes against Purdy, and you're going to give me a defense that has looked really good against a Niners defense that, truth be told, has been very overrated for the last month or two. I just think that the Niners are overvalued, and I think that the wrong team's favorite. So I'll go with the Chiefs to get the job done on the money line at plus money. I'm shocked Mahomes is an underdog again. I understand the argument is they go by overall rosters, and that's the case, but do you think the Chiefs have looked like the worst team out of these two in the playoffs? Because I don't.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And whether it's square or not, I'm on the Chiefs as well. And I don't know if you got to listen to some of the earlier part of the show, but one of the, Shayne Trail came on and he said, look, when people win the Super Bowl, they win it by 4 or more. They don't win it by 3 or less. And so Chiefs, you like the Chiefs minus 2.5 is plus 130. And it's sort of like you kind of can reverse that. Another thing that I'm going to probably convince you to bet with me that I'm really, really excited about. Christian McCaffrey never goes over his rush attempts in Niners losses. If we do an alt under, he doesn't go over 15. We do an alt under on his rush attempts with the Chiefs minus 2.5. It's like a 5-1 play on the Chiefs to win.
So how nuts is it if you would also throw in an alt over on Pacheco carries with that, or is that?
I
too
mean,
crazy?
you could. I mean, it's probably pretty correlated. So that that kind of opens it up. Are there like we got some time here. Tell us, like, are there some players that you're kind of looking at and prop wise? I know you also I know you love kicking stuff too. This is the last time you get to do that. But what are some things that you've kind of looked at?
Yeah, so I got a couple of props. One's on defense. I like Nick Bolton under 5.5 solo tackles at -130. I had the Roquan under in that Chiefs game.
Oh, we got saved by that,
which was so funny because I had the 5.5 solos. He had 16 tackles, but only 5 of them were solos, so I ended up winning. But Bolton hasn't really gone over this number at all the entire season.
Once against Cincy.
Yeah, he's had less than 6 solo tackles in 10 of 11 games. He's had less than 6 solo tackles in all 3 playoff games. And the Chiefs, who I think are going to win, are going to drain a lot of clock. We saw that with the Ravens game in the AFC title game. They had Lamar off the field. They drained the clock. They moved the chains. And that might result in less defensive snaps for Bolton to accumulate all these tackles. But simply put, you're going to give me a guy that's gone under in 10 of 11. The Chiefs are very good at sending a lot of guys to the ball carrier. So a lot of it's going to be assists, which is why I only prefer the solo tackles. But if you go under in 10 of 11, there's no serious injuries because I'm pretty sure Gay's healthy again. Why would I not just take the under at 130? Once again, he's gone under in 10 of 11.
I love it. No, I think it's good. He went over against San Francisco that went 2 years ago.
That changes everything. 2
years
ago,
changes everything. Completely different line. Yeah. No, I like it. I mean, I to get for folks at home that want a little bit of a degen story, you and I were texting back and forth in the championship for that Roquan because ESPN said, "Oh yeah, he went over," and DraftKings said, "No, he didn't. No, he didn't."
Yeah.
And it just went back and forth.
The way that it gets graded, I've discovered it, is that ESPN will always grade every assist as an initial tackle, and they'll go back and correct it. So you're going to be miserable trying to follow this prop on the play-by-play or the box score, but it got there. So just keep that in mind. But once again, that's one prop I was looking at. I do like Butker over for field goals, but that's not one of the plays I was going to give out. But
no,
Bolton,
I like Butker. I like Butker over field goals too. I have that as well.
But Butker in general should go over. It's in a dome, and he can hit from basically 60, so that shouldn't be an issue. Bolton tackles I like though. I was pretty tempted though to fade a Niner. I like Debo in the passing game, but I really don't like him that much in the ground game. I like the under 16.5 rushing yards. I'm looking at the recent workload that he's had. It's been non-existent. He's had less than 12 rushing yards in 6 of his last 7. He's had less than 4 carries in each of his last 8 games. So he needs basically 17 yards on 3 carries.
Which is
that
nuts,
what we're looking at here?
That's crazy.
I know Debo's a very good player, and you could argue maybe they're going to try to get creative, get the ball in his hands a bit more. I think Ayuk's going to do basically nothing in this game because I think Snead's going to be on him.
That seems to be the consensus that Ayuk's going to be sort of disappearing. So when you and I do our inevitable parlay, we might want to do some serious correlation of a something with a Debo over, but an Ayuk dies type of thing. Not really dies, but dies metaphorically for people out there.
I think they're going to sacrifice Ayuk and they're going to force Debo to play in the slot a lot, and they're going to try to move him around the formation to get him some good looks on some nickel corners, etc. So I think Debo is a good game through the air, but it might also tie back into the actual game script that we're thinking. We think the Chiefs probably start off well because the Niners have gotten off some bad starts this postseason. Maybe the Niners play from behind, which is why you are leaning to the McCaffrey under for rush attempts. Yep. I just don't know how many carries Debo's going to get. If you're looking at a guy who's had, once again, less than 4 carries in 8 straight games, why would I assume he's going to suddenly have a ramp up in the Super Bowl? I don't really get it, but some of it's correlated because if he ends up with 6 carries, he might be screwed in this one. But the attempts just haven't been there. So
I mean, if Debo gets 6 carries, something probably went wrong. Because you got to think about the usage. Means McCaffrey got injured, and they didn't use Elijah Mitchell.
And Mitchell had a touchdown in the last game. So that's why I'm kind of looking at it saying Mitchell should get a little bit of work as a change of pace back, which we know he's capable of doing.
I love that Shawn or Kramer describes him as coach's son. That's why he gets plays because Shanahan loves him.
In the NFL show, though, I actually did lean to Elijah Mitchell first touchdown score at 75-1 just for the price. That's 75-1.
I'm on use check at 60-1, but I think we're thinking about it the same way.
Well, the argument's pretty similar, is that if McCaffrey gets tired, they'll bring him in as a goal line guy. We've seen it happen before. McCaffrey breaks a long run, he's winded, they'll bring in Mitchell, who we know can do it. But yeah, Debo under rushing yards was one play I was tempted by. It's at even money, on the under 16.5.
Yep.
Once again, under 12 and 6 of 7. I just think that line is a little bit too high for me. A lot of star power recognition. They think star power is going to show up the big game. I agree, through the air. I don't think it's going to show up through the ground. So that's another prop I liked. And I had one more. You mentioned Juszczyk. I like his receiving yards over at 3.5 at minus 130. He's gone over in 4 of the last 6. He's actually gone over 5. Overachiever by 1 yard. He's gone over 5 in 4 of his last 6. Been targeted at least twice in 4 of the last 6. And if you want to go by head-to-head, he's randomly been really good against Kansas City. Now, it is dated.
34. It's just crazy.
Some of it was dated back to his time in Baltimore, but he's had at least 26 receiving yards in all 4 career games against the Chiefs. We know he's going to be on the field a lot because they send him in motion. They run a lot of toss plays, etc., sweeps. So you're looking at him being on the field a lot. So he's going to be, once again, a threat in the play action. They might send him on a delay route underneath. But if one catch is basically minus 150 and every catch he has is basically for like 7+ yards, why would I not just take the 3.5 yards and save 20 cents?
Oh, dude, I agree. And like I will tout it again that the first show we did for the Super Bowl preview is the day after the conference championship. Dan Newbert came on here and he said Kyle Juszczyk over at back then 2 weeks ago it was 1 yard and 1 reception, and he gave that out, and we touted the heck out of it. But look, if you want to get crazy, which I feel like you and I will end up getting crazy, 25 yards plus 475 for Kyle Juszczyk. If we could create that world. We could create a world where it's under his receptions, because he's not going to get more than 2 receptions.
No, 2 is probably
get more than 1. Right. Yeah. So what if we did under 1.5 receptions over 20 yards? I bet you.
And you just hope it's a blown coverage wheel route, like down the sideline.
Basically. It's the same. It's the Jameson Williams stuff. It's the same thing that we can always do with that.
Yeah, you're comparing Kyle Juszczyk to Jameson Williams, but I like where your head's at, though.
Yeah,
I think he probably finishes like a 1 catch for like 9 yards, but he's been reliable when they actually throw him the ball. People kind of forget about him because they got Kittle and Samuel and Ayuk. They got a lot of weapons, and he might find an opening in the defense underneath. So we'll see what happens, but I do have a bit of a hot take for the game, which might not make people happy.
This is the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said that before I mentioned my prediction for the game. Some people just predict or want a good game and they don't take a side. And then I immediately gave you a side and a total. Yeah, I think this game might suck.
Yeah,
full disclosure. I think this game is going to be close, but I think it's going to be painful. Like, people are expecting a lot of big plays, a lot of, star power being shown with Kelsey having big catches and Samuel, and I get all that, but people who think the Chiefs are going to play an entertaining game of football probably have not watched the Chiefs play for the last 2 months. They're painful to watch. They win games. I'm aware Mahomes is great. I'm not taking that away from him, but maybe you'll agree with me. I don't understand the case for the over at 47.5. I don't get it. I like the under in this game.
Marks was, I understood it on the Reed side. I can see where he's coming from, because Mark's opinion was Andy Reid's the best at scripting plays, and he's had 2 weeks. So you could actually you could book the Chiefs to score on their first drive pretty well, just because of just a lot of what he's able to do. Mm-hmm. And the ceiling of this Niners team is still the better skill players on the field. Like CMC, like the CMC, the collective of CMC, Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo, I would argue, is better than a Pacheco, Kelsey, Rice, MVS, or Watson, whatever you're going to do. If you're just putting them side by side. So that ceiling is there. I think the Chiefs had the better quarterback. I also think that the Chiefs are just like, I think that the Chiefs look like a championship team because they are catching their stride at the absolute right time. And it comes back to defense and defense and defense for me.
I get it. And the Niners are the number 1 team in the league in points in the second half. Like, I am aware of that. The Chiefs, though, this season are averaging basically 7.6 points per game in the second half. It's just a crawl. It's also based on pace. The Chiefs, I do agree, are going to start decently in this game, which is why I did mention Chiefs first half as my first play that I gave out. But they take so much time off the clock because they don't generate many massive plays because the pass catchers, besides Kelsey, are very underwhelming. Now, the Niners' defense has been underwhelming as well. But if the Chiefs are going to score and they're going to take 7 minutes off the clock every time to go 70-something yards, I'm going to lean to an under. And I think the Chiefs, if they are leading, are going to sit on the lead, run the ball, drain clock, and punt. because it's what they've done the entire playoff run. So it might just be based on the Chiefs, but I see a lot of people blindly liking the over, expecting points. I just don't agree with that because the Chiefs have been a very ugly and low-scoring team for most of the season. And I see that being the same story. Like I'm not picking the Chiefs to win this game 30-20. I don't see that happening. I think if the Chiefs win, the Niners probably don't reach 23. I think that's pretty correlated. So I have 24-20. Something along those lines. Reed's going to settle for a field goal in the red zone because he always does. And that's going to kill 6 minutes off the clock. But I'll go with the under. You on the over or the under though? Because I know that some people make cases, but I can't. For me, I'm on
the under. I am on the second half under. I preemptively already took Chiefs, the Niners. I took second half under 23.5. This is.
But I texted you that right when the lines dropped.
Yeah. I got it at plus money. Took it right away, and then I sprinkled though, like because if it goes over, I think it goes way over. I sprinkled on over 56.5 at plus 380. Like, so it is either way up there or it's doing that. And I just did that for fun. But like, I do think that this game goes under. I think this game ends up being closer to that Pats Rams Super Bowl than it ends up being closer to the Chiefs.
So that means you like alt unders because that was like 3-0 halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah. That was a terrible game. That's also the first game that I ever bet and it went awful.
I had a lot of money on the Patriots in that game, so I have no complaints, but that was a miserable game to watch.
It was a miserable game to watch. All right. So look, I got to be honest. I got my favorite guest that I've been waiting for in the back room. I got Shawn. I got Shawn Hardie, who's about to come in to close this out. We're just going to have a good time.
I am absolutely offended right now.
You should be, but
wow.
I want everyone to get your score prediction one more time and then tell everybody where they can find you.
Yep. All right. So my score prediction is going to be Chiefs 24-20. In this one. I'm not going against Mahomes. It is what it is. You can find me on Twitter at Reichel Radio. You can find me on a bunch of podcasts with SGPN, NBA show, tennis show, a WNBA in season, NFL show, but I did my last episode of the season already, so that's already done. MLB when the season starts up. Basically, I'm on half the podcast, so you know where to find me.
And soon we will. We're figuring out how we're going to launch our bits and bets, which is basically just Scott and I making jokes while we put together parlays.
We're just riffing. That's basically it. We're going to be riffing.
All the time. Yeah. Scott, thanks again for coming by, dude.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Shawn Michael Hardie. Why did I never use Shawn Michael Hardie?
That is a running bit. That's a running bit for like God knows how long.
It is a good bit. Well, so look, now that we are in the we can do whatever mode, I'm going to use this to text it to our technologically unsavvy friend Allie Campbell on our WhatsApp. But look, Shawn Hardie, famously of everything, but most famously of Knicks Film School. You have taken time from the Knicks on track to be the at least the number 2 seed in the East to come in and talk some ball. So obviously Chiefs went through your Ravens for this all to happen, but right away, give me your take. Who's winning this game? We've had Chiefs. I don't care if it's square. I'm on the Chiefs, but what are you thinking?
You know what I like to say? It may be square, but sometimes squares are right. And I'm on the Chiefs. And it's not necessarily because of the don't point to Mahomes. Like last week, and for those who don't know, I'm a Ravens fan. If you can't tell right there, that's the Mile High Miracle. Hold on, wait a minute. I got some shit right here. Hold on. It's good in my house forever because he won me the Super Bowl. No slander is allowed for this man, except we play them. I wouldn't lose 70-0. But funny, like 2 weeks ago, everyone was like, Mahomes is so great. The motherfucker scored 17 points. He didn't score in the second half. Because this team, for me, like I've been listening for like the last hour or so, and I just agree with so many people. Like for me, the Chiefs is a tale of two half seasons. It's up to the Raider game on Christmas and after the Raider game on Christmas. Before
the Raider game's a pivot point. I like this.
The Raider game's a pivot point. So for those who don't remember, they lost at home to the Raiders, which kept their season alive, and people literally thought people were throwing dirt on Kansas City at that point. And remember, they had
totally
lost
forgot
to,
that. I
and they
completely
lost to
forgot that happened.
Buffalo 2 weeks before, and that was the Kelsey throwing the
The
Kelsey
offsides.
lateral to Tony,
Yeah.
and Kelsey's throwing his helmet and he's bitching at the officials, and everyone's like, they're done. Okay. Up into Chris, so basically until Boxing Day, the Chiefs.
By the way, you can tell that Shawn, as he's wearing his Tottenham kit, is a soccer fan, because no one else would ever refer to Boxing Day in any sort of, I mean, unless they're from England or whatever. But
for
still,
you silly
amazing.
Americans, and I'm an American, so I can
Americans.
say that Boxing Day is December 26th. Up until the Raider game, Patrick Mahomes was averaging 264 passing yards a game. Since 239. 37 pass attempts up into the Raider game, after 33 pass attempts. 25.3 completions through the Raider game, 22 completions after the Raider game. They made I've heard people say this, I did the research for myself. After that game, they said, okay, we are changing who we are. The fake greatest show on turf, throw it long, big play shit, that shit is dead. We got a great defense. We have the greatest quarterback in the league. We have a really good running game. We're going to play ball control. We're going to make plays when we need to. And they have not lost a game since.
Look,
so Chiefs. So I'm on the Chiefs.
You're on the Chiefs. So look, I have the third member of our 4-year running of props and things, Mr. Ali Campbell. Here,
I actually did not think he was going to show up. I thought he was going to.
Dude, he showed up right away. This is like way better. and this is the closer, so we can do whatever we want. Ali, well, first of all, Ali, welcome to the show. Look at you.
Yes.
Look at you wearing a black turtleneck. Like, are you like you are in?
I feel underdressed.
Yeah, I feel really underdressed.
I'm turtleneck. This is a long sleeve t-shirt.
Yeah, nice. All right, so everybody's on Chiefs. What are you thinking for this game? What do you like? And by the way, if you don't know, Ali, like Shawn and I talk a lot of shit, but Ali knows ball. Like we can both say Ali does. Ali definitely knows ball.
Ali knows more than you, and not you as in on this call, as you out there.
Oh man, I'm putting pressure on.
Hey, pressure bust pipes.
So I'm winging it. I got KC plus 115 money line. I'm not going to waste time with the spread. I'm done picking against Mahomes. This is reminiscent of Brady. What was that? The year they beat Mahomes, actually. And I told Shawn, like, this is it. Like, got to put the knife in their back, and no one ever did. And that's what this KC team reminds me of. Like, Buffalo had to put the knife in their back. Baltimore didn't put the knife. Like, I got KC plus 115.
That was that. Wait, are we talking about the team? When the Bucks so the Chiefs are the Bucks that year that Shawn Hardie
No. This is the year that Brady beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship.
Oh yeah. The one he had no business doing. The OT one. Yeah,
yes.
I remember that one.
But
I remember that
Shawn
one.
was like, they're done. I'm like, Shawn, until the knife is in their back.
And if D4 doesn't jump off side, the knife is in their back.
If he doesn't,
D4 stopped it. He's like, no, not yet.
All right, so look, everybody's universally on the Chiefs. I'm pulling up. I'm gonna make it share like some screens so we can kind of look at a couple of things. But you and I love doing this. And Ali, I gotta go with you first. Give me a prop we'll go you and then we'll go Shawn and we'll go back and forth. But for folks at home, you're gonna have to just listen to us do this because it's like we do this all the time. And Ali's a lead at this. Ali was doing last touchdowns like back when people were still worried about like just doing receptions. I'm like, what is this? He goes, oh, it's last TD. Ali, what is your first favorite prop of the game?
So again, I'm still looking through numbers, but I'll tell you this though. I saw something on Bovada, non-quarterback Super Bowl MVP plus 210. And something about that I kind of dig because
that seems short.
One, if you think the Niners will win the game, I love this number because the Niners have so many other guys that can win MVP other than Purdy. You have the running back. You got Debo, who I'm actually looking at for plus 2,000 with MVP because he does so much running and receiving.
I took him earlier today. I think Debo has a monster game.
He can come in and steal the MVP. And then if you really want to get cute, Kelsey obviously is the thing that makes KC go. And if they lose, I'm looking at Warner or Greenlaw to win MVP. Maybe they played big. In
Somebody else had that too. Wait, go with give me the Greenlaw argument, because it basically becomes an unwatchable Super Bowl.
Well, I wouldn't say unwatchable. I think, let's say, for example, the final score is like 20 to, not even 20, let's call it 21-13. And KC struggles offensively because Kelsey can't get off. And let's say Greenlaw has a pick six.
Yeah, you have to have a pick six for this to happen. Like, he's got to have a pick six for this to happen. You got to have a
he's probably got to score. Like Malcolm Smith scored. And the thing is, there's precedent. Like, as much as we think the NFL is an offensive league, in recent memory, we have had some defensive MVPs between Malcolm Smith, Von Miller.
Von Miller famously using what's his name as a turnstile.
Dexter Jackson.
By the way, Dre Greenlaw.
No, he's not that recent.
Greenlaw, by the way, is 45-1 to have a touchdown.
Oh, just to have a touchdown. Okay.
To have a touchdown. His interception, because I'm going to add this to this whole list. His interception is, dude, 15-1 for an interception.
That's a good number.
I love that.
I
love that. I like, it's on Caesars, 45-1 for him to have a touchdown, 15-1 on FanDuel for him to have an interception. And he had it. Let's see how many he had. He had 2 against Green Bay. So I love that play.
Yeah. And then I know we're here for the touchdown props. Now, Shawn and I have discussed this numerous times. I hate taking anybody on the Niners to score a touchdown because their number is so prohibitive, and you can't really find value in anybody else because nobody else scores in that team. It's either McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. Nobody else scores.
That's it. That's the list.
No use check. No, wait. No, you're not even going with use. You're not even going with former Raven fullback. Not even.
I used to do that years ago, and I learned my lesson. Like it could happen, but especially now that McCaffrey's there, like 4 guys score. I am looking at Justin Watson to score a touchdown for the Chiefs. Though.
He's been popular today. I forgot that he was on Tampa Bay until someone reminded me. He was on that Tampa Bay team.
Was he really?
Yeah. This is his third Super Bowl. I had no idea. Justin Watson though, plus 650. Plus 650.
I do like him to score the random touchdown because that's what he does.
He is.
And then I'm looking now because I had this thought just even before I know what the number is. Oh no, this number's high. Mahomes 26.5 rushing yards. I was going to look at that, but that's high shit.
I especially say he's going to be taking 3 knees at the end of the game. Right? Like everyone remembers.
I'm not getting screwed on that again. That's going to be not fun.
But I do like Debo for 17 rushing yards.
Debo 17 is on there. Like, I think that, so like my argument on Debo has been he was 50-50 to even play last week, and there's no way they showed all the playbook. And so I just think of anybody, if I'm going to, I'm fading CMC overall. Like, not like betting his unders, but I'm not buying him, I guess is a better way to say it. And I think Debo could go to the moon because they could just use him in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. I took KC money line the day after Championship Sunday when it was plus money because I actually thought this is crazy and this line's going to move, and surprisingly it moved in the other direction. So like I actually threw like a quarter. So I put a full unit on that, and I threw a quarter unit on them plus 106. And then, and this is something I learned from one Adam Rosenberg. KC minus 2.5 plus 126.
Dude, that's what we've been talking about this entire thing, that if you like Kansas City, like no teams in the Super Bowl win by 2. Like it's by 2. Yes. You got it. Like, well, even so, even
it's
when
by
you do
3 or by 13.
It's by 13. So take them to win it by 3. You get plus 130. Yeah. And another thing that Ali, we discovered was there's a massive trend with when the Niners lose and CMC rush attempts. And if you alt under his rush attempts, you could probably get a Kansas City to like 5-1 or 6-1. You parlay it with that, which I'm probably gonna do. I mean, I love Kansas City in this game. So like, I think Brock Purdy looks scared, and I trust, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but like you'll appreciate it as a Giants fan, but like I trust Spags, dude. Like, I think Spags is going to just make his life miserable. You've seen him.
So I'm on FanDuel, and I see two interesting guys. Deebo Samuel, first player to reach 10 rushing yards at 13-1.
That's great.
So
Okay,
if they get the ball first, yes. If they don't get the ball first, that bet is a loss because Pacheco, they're going to give the ball to Pacheco.
Well, Pacheco's yards per carry isn't crazy. Let me see his longest rush. Because that's really what you. Oh, he doesn't even.
Oh, he like against us, he averaged like 2.5
no,
yards.
it was it 24 for 69?
Yeah, but the thing is, they keep giving him the ball. And I believe actually against us, his first carry went for like 10 yards or something like that.
It did.
Yeah. So, and the reason I bring that up, and I think it's a perfect segue, because I feel like everyone loves Pacheco over rushing yards, but it's like if you've been paying attention to this team and all the shit about ball control. They've been giving him the ball. I also pulled some numbers. Here are the 49ers rushing yards allowed the last 6 games. I'll work backwards from the NFC Championship game.
Do it.
Detroit, 182. Green Bay, 136. Yes, Detroit ran for one.
That's insane.
The dude that was before us, he said it like, I don't know how the hell they lost that game, but whatever. Green Bay, 136. Rams, 109. Commanders, 62, but their Commanders, they stink. Baltimore, 102. Arizona, 234.
Yeah, Arizona. Dude, actually, if you look at the game line,
that's when everything.
Two different guys on that team. That other dude, like, was it? It wasn't just Connors. It was
like Mercado, whatever his name is.
Mercado also had like 70 yards against them. The Niners defense has been bunk for literally the last 2 months.
Well, they're the classic front running team. Like, you just stay in the game, you can run on them.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows that stat about them if they're behind by 5 or more going to fourth quarter. But listen,
wait, I don't know that stat, or some people might not know. Tell the people that stat.
The Niners are like 1-31 when they are down by more than 5 points going into the fourth quarter.
Wow.
And the one
was
last Sunday. It was 2 Sundays before last. And that's kind of fake because, and Al, we talked about this. That's kind of fake because they were down a touchdown going to the fourth quarter, but they're in really good position to score. They scored very quickly after that.
The first play of the fourth quarter is a field goal.
Yeah. If they're down, they're fucked. Period. End of story.
Yep. No, I mean, look, I don't think this is, I think they're going to make their life miserable. Like, I just think I look, I have some Deebo stuff and like, I have an excellent view. Like, I would love for Niners over KC to hit, because I have that at 10-1 at a pretty good amount, and that would be a fantastic win. But I also, I've built a pretty good position on the Chiefs side, and I just, Allie nailed it. I'm just done I'm done fading Mahomes as the dog. I don't care about narrative. I don't care about how square it is. And I just don't believe that this, and Shanahan gets tight in key situations, man. That's like, I'm not going to get past that. Are there, you guys, so you guys are both, I want to go to you, Shawn. You are really good. You've scoured props, and I know I made you do this a couple days early, but you want to tell folks about every year you have this one is your favorite, and you and I have known each other 25 years, so I'm sure this is going to be the one. But will you tell people one of your go-to props for the Super Bowl?
So one of my go-to props for the Super Bowl is always over 2.5 players to attempt to pass.
I know this guy. Do you know what's the number on it now?
So it is plus 172. Now, this year, I already bet it because that's what I do, but I'm more cautious of it this year because Kansas City, why would you? No one else is throwing the ball besides Mahomes, unless you're Travis Kelce. Unless you're Travis,
I think we'll do it.
Noah Gray was a quarterback in high school.
Well, not only Noah Gray, Blake Bell played quarterback in Oklahoma.
Like Bell, the Belldozer. The Belldozer, dude. He was a quarterback in college.
Like, the podcast is alive.
So it's funny you say that, because as I said that, now that makes me feel even better about it, because I actually thought it was going to be San Francisco.
No, I think there's no shot in San Francisco.
Debo's already thrown a pass this year.
And CMC is the emergency.
And CMC is the emergency guy. He's
Yeah.
thrown passes, and Debo's thrown a pass this year. I thought it would be Kansas City, San Francisco more likely to have a guy. But either way, someone other than a quarterback. And honestly, listen, and also if God forbid one of those guys get hurt and miss the play, and I think more likely on Kansas City side, like they will if a guy gets hurt and has to come in for a play and attempts to pass, you win. But the trickeration comes out in the Super Bowl.
As long as I have known Shawn, or as long as I've known Shawn that we've been betting, which has been like 5 years. Shawn has always pushed this prop as his main one. Allie's always been really good at like finding some of these other remember guys a couple years ago. Everyone's gonna have to listen to us talk about it, but we were so close to cash it. We all had we had over 2.5 to throw. This is the Rams Super Bowl against the Bengals. Over 2.5, and we had something it was specific around OBJ. We had OBJ,
touchdown. Yes, and we had OBJ going off. Yeah, and he would have, if he doesn't tear his ACL, he wins MVP.
He wins MVP. We had him to the moon in that game, and everything was going to hit until he tore his knee.
Oh, it was awful. I
actually middled on that game. As we talk about teams that don't win by more than 3, I middled on that game. Now that I think about it, because I had Bengals spread, and they only won by 3. So I had the money line. I live middled on that game. But yeah, anyway, that's a go-to prop. That's doesn't matter. I think it's a great one to take.
Yeah. I'm actually, if you ask Allie something, I'm actually do some research about something.
I will. Allie,
so,
what? Tell me.
I'm looking for one of my favorites, and that's the length of the national anthem. Because I've heard that we have a country singer singing this year, I think, right?
Yeah, it's Reba McEntire.
And that means that I'm picking the under.
Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't found where to take it. Well, I guess it's on
my bookie has it. Are we allowed to say other people's books on here?
Yeah. We're not. This isn't affiliated with any of that stuff.
Okay,
all
right. Yeah, my bookie has it. Like the offshore books will have it, but the domestic sports books stay away from that stuff.
I can't find the number. I'm looking now. I want to see what the number is.
Have you guys looked at any of the halftime stuff for like Usher song things?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think is the favorite to be first song performed.
Yeah, I believe it's like plus 200.
Plus 200, but that or OMG.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout.
Because there's somebody who pointed this out that OMG is popular, but not too popular, gets everybody up, and it's got a good beat. And then I thought, like my initial inclination was, but I think is that third song that gets everyone back up, because it gets it's like the next to last because it gets everyone going. I also was way wrong last year because I remember Shawn very specifically saying to me, he's like, "Oh yeah, man, bitch better have my money as the opener," and I'm like, "There's no way she's gonna start with the song. It's a family event." I went like full MAGA. I was like, "Yo, this is January 6th. There's not gonna happen." And then what happens is the lights go out and she yells, "Bitch gonna have my money." I get a text from Shawn, and you also see this gorgeous baby bump on the queen of the internet, Rihanna, and then the Eagles lost. But I remember being very, very wrong about that. So I mean, it happens.
So what I was looking up is non-quarterbacks who have attempted a pass in the Super Bowl. It's happened 11 times. Twice in that Rams-Bengals Super Bowl we were discussing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp threw one. Joe Mixon threw a touchdown pass.
That's right. I remember that. I think it was the first touchdown of the game.
It
might have been. I think it was.
It might.
T. Higgins.
I could check that out. But
check it.
Danny Amendola threw one. Trey Burton threw one. But I say all that to say, non-quarterback pass touchdown is plus 3,500.
That's
3,500.
Yes, 3,500. That is worth $5.
That is definitely $5. Because if KC does it, it's gonna be at the goal line. It's gonna be one of those funny packages between the 3 tight ends who all can throw the ball.
Both teams will do it near the goal line. I don't think Debo's like throwing like
No one's
slant
throwing a
that's going to take
15.
the
Yeah,
house,
no one's
right?
throwing a slant.
So yeah, it's gonna if it happens, it's gonna be near the goal line. Philly. We all remember Philly. So like I said, I know I sometimes get sucked in by these big juicy numbers, but like
no, that's a good
plus
number.
3,500. Like you spent more and less. So
nope, I agree with that one. I've been playing a lot. I've been looking a lot at the like first catch type of thing and first catch yardage. There was actually like I give Birdman a shout, but he had first catch. It was Brock Purdy's first completion will be under 10.5 yards, which I liked because Brock Purdy's he hasn't been very good in the first halves of any of the games. That's kind of going into the end of the season. He kind of quote unquote heats up, whatever we're going to call it for Brock Purdy's, but I'd like that. And I've done a lot of punting and kicking props. Like for me, I keyed in on, for both either team to have a punt as a touchback because Townsend's had the second highest punt touchback percentage in the playoffs, fourth highest in the league over the season. He's just really good about it. And I don't think these teams are going to give each other chances to like make something happen. So I could see that. And it was like plus 130. I took them that one. So yeah,
I actually try to find props on Moody. It's like his unders, misses, crossbars, things like that. Cause he is shaky. I haven't been able to find that. The only two other things I really three things. I like McKinnon over receptions. I haven't looked at the number. I think it's like 2.5, but he's back.
He might not be. They said that trust me, I'm on the same page as you. I was ready to ship him to the moon, and then Andy Reid threw water on it and was like, I don't know if he's playing. He's probably not playing.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Might mean it's Kadarius. Might mean it's Richie James time, Valley. I have Richie James to have more punt yards than Ray McLeod.
Great, that's my boy Ray McLeod.
Yeah, I know.
You know how much money I threw on him for anytime touchdown? Jesus Christ. I believe I heard you discussing earlier with another guest. People have been blindly betting Kansas City second half unders and just winning. Like you said, it's 23.5. It's still 23.5. It's just minus 110 now. It's not plus money. Their team total under is 10.5, which is plus 110 if you take the under. But the other bet I like, second half under. But the last prop I really like is MVS. So first I was looking at MVS longest reception because he's gonna get a bomb. But that number was like 13 or 19 or something like that.
13 is what we're seeing here.
You can bet over 25.5 receiving yards for plus 135. Because if he throws him the ball, he's not catching a screen or a slant. It's going to be in the air. Like the A dot is going to be high. So over 24 it's plus DraftKings has it. DraftKings had it at, I took it at plus 135. It may have moved. Maybe everyone's on it.
No, it moved the opposite way, but like it's plus money for him to do what it's going to happen. What's going to do?
Yeah. So I feel like if you're going to take if you're going to take longest reception, if the number is if you can get plus money at like a decent number, like 25, like for a guy who catch bombs, 25.5. You want to get nuts, get 30, go to plus 30 over 29.5, what have you. And the last thing I'll say is, if I think the Chiefs win, I think the game goes under. I think this is going to be like 24-17. If Patrick Mahomes does not win MVP, we know who's winning MVP. And that number is plus 1,100 for Mr. Swift.
Ooh, that's it's funny. It was 80-1 before the conference championship, and I told you, I'm like, you better take this now.
You did,
and that was wild. And like, he's 11-1. He had in that first Super Bowl for them against the Niners, he had 10 catches.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's funny. You told me like immediately after the championship game, after I finished drowning my sorrows. I went right on my bookie and it was plus 1850, and I immediately.
That's great. That's great. But I think it's getting steamed down. That's a great. I mean, look, you got it around 20-1. It's fantastic.
If you're gonna take it now, because by when the Swifties get to Vegas and figure this shit out, it's gonna be like under 10-1, because for obvious reasons. But like if to Allie's point, unless someone goes full Dexter Jackson with the pick six on Kansas City, if Mahomes doesn't win this MVP, Kelsey's winning it. Write that shit down.
Yep. Nope. I do not see people being like, "Oh, Rashid Rice." Like, I don't see a world where that really happens. I don't know. Like, this is a very scripted season. Like it's literally been a marketing campaign for Taylor Swift, which is fine. I like Taylor Swift, but it's going to be Mr. Swift if it's not Mahomes on the KC side.
Speaking of Rashid Rice, I would not be afraid to bet him for over receptions, because I remember reading this on Twitter right before the championship game. Someone said, because earlier, Ali, you missed it because you weren't here, but I said that the Chiefs season is a tale of two seasons. It's up to the Vegas game, the Vegas game, and the Los Angeles Christmas. You heard, okay,
and I agree.
Someone has said that like the Chiefs season turned around when he stopped involving all the bad players, and it was like you don't see Sky Moore anymore, you don't see Kadarius Toney anymore, you didn't see Justin Watson for a while.
Kadarius Toney basically got kicked off the team. Like he's like the other day there was a rumor was that he was the player who was attacked by a coyote.
He's on double secret probation.
Absolutely. Reed hates him. He throws him under the bus all the time.
Yeah. So these are Rashid Rice's targets the first half of the season. 5.27, 5.54, 6.525. That was a lot, and that last game being a loss at Philly. Since then, 10, 9, 10, 9, 12, 6, 12, 4, 9.
Like, he gets involved.
That, like, after Kelsey, that's the guy he trusts. And everyone else is just like throwing darts. Like we spoke about, there's gonna be a bomb to MVS. I totally believe in the random Justin Watson or Noah Gray touchdown. But in terms of like receptions, Rashid Rice, okay, I see you have it's over 6.5. I will be on that over because, like I said, that's the guy that.
God, look at that. His targets are insane.
Yeah, but if you look at the Baltimore game, I was talking to my brother and my cousin about that. Look at the Baltimore game. I want to say Pacheco, Rice, and Kelsey touched the ball on at least 70% of the snaps.
It was all like they're not fucking around, and that's why Andy.
They make it very clear.
Yeah, they're like, all right, this is how we have to win. This is what we're going to do. When your number's called on, we will call on you. Otherwise, sit down and shut up. And it has worked. Period. I think Kansas City wins this game. I'll say this. If you think San Francisco wins this game, take the over. Because the Achilles heel and the way this all gets blown up is if Kansas City watches the AFC Championship game film and says, hey, see what Baltimore did? Let's not do that. Let's do the exact fucking opposite on offense. And they try to establish the run and run the ball. And if they are able to run the ball, that makes life easier for Purdy or whatever. And then it's like, if you like Kansas City, take the over. If you like San Francisco, take the over. If you like Kansas City, take the under. Kansas City's not winning a shootout. And what was the gentleman who was on before me? What's his name? I forget.
Scott, right? Scott Reichel.
Scott said it. He was like, people keep looking at over, thinking points are going to be scored. I know why. And I was saying it backstage. I was like, because those people are casuals. Those people are like, oh, it's Kansas City. It's like prime time. Oh, it's like prime time. Always hit.
No, I agree.
So,
I agree.
Listen, do not expect if you think this is Kansas City 3 years ago, this ain't that team. This game, I agree with Scott. This game's gonna suck for the casual. The Swifties are gonna be pissed because this game could easily be after 3 quarters 17-10. Easily.
Yep. I mean, it's the worst Chiefs team under Mahomes with the best defense.
Yes.
And I just think that I don't care what happened for the first 8 weeks of the season. You talked about those pivot points. This defense is nasty. And look, I don't really care that they haven't been able to get their offense moving other than through 2 guys. Mm-hmm. The reality is that they're perfectly content winning games 17-10. Yep. So and they're fine with that. So we're gonna get it wrapped up a little. Allie, I want to get one last prop and a final score prediction, and then Shawn, same thing from you, and then we'll head, and then where everybody can find you as well.
All right, I just saw something on Bovada, which is pretty interesting. Last play of first half, a quarterback rush. Yes, plus 200.
Take a knee.
Exactly.
It wasn't last year, for the record. Just but that was a very that was. I don't think that's. I think that was the. I mean, obviously, you lose out on a winning field goal. You lose out on things like last year, where you lose out if someone gives someone else too much time. That works because here's the thing: if you're Kyle Shanahan, if you're the Niners and you have the ball up, it's
No, not the game. The first half.
Oh, first half. For first half. Yeah. So okay. So I liked a different angle. I liked a different angle on the first half. So I liked longest field goal, like a 60-yard field goal be kicked. And I saw this. This was talked about by Sam Bayanovich on his pod. But basically, the point that was made was that Moody could try to kick a 60-yard field goal. He kicked one in college. But Butker at the end of a half could easily try to do that. That's just something, but that's like 35-1. You could bet both of these and still have a good time with it.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Like that's the only situation to see it. But yeah, man, 2-1 for the last play of the first. Yeah, I've never seen that's a great play. That's on Bovada. That's a good play.
Yeah.
I like that. 2-1. Okay, so final score prediction.
Final score. I'm going with Chiefs. Let's say Chiefs 23. Niners, let's say Chiefs 23, Niners 17.
All right. All right, Shawn, a final prop or play, and where folks can find you and your score prediction.
So I have 24-17 Chiefs. The last play I'll give out is if Kansas City wins this game, that goes under. If you parlay Kansas City money line. Actually, if you parlay Kansas City minus 2.5, and the under is plus 290.
That's great.
So you can grab because like I said, if they win this game, it's going if Kansas City wins the game, it's going under, and it's not going to be we kicked the field goal, we won 20-19 like Super Bowl 25. So that's the last play I'll give out. Where you can find me, I am a part of Knicks Film School on Twitter at Nick Film School spelled with a K. We do podcasts, we do watch-alongs, we had a watch party in New York City on Saturday.
You guys have good merch too. As a noted Knicks hater, you guys have great merch. Great.
And as a noted semi-Sixer fan, because I lived in Philadelphia for 4 years, if you had told me that Sixers Warriors would be a mid-off in the beginning of the year, I would have did not have that on my bingo card. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And you can follow me on Twitter at Shawn for W_. That is literally Shawn with a W_. The underscore is very important.
Awesome. Your call is always great. It's my favorite, and it's the underscore is very important. All right. So for Shawn and Allie, thank you everyone for joining us for the last 2 hours and 20 minutes of hearing us just talk about football. There will be some other content things this week. Follow all of our guests. We'll put out the slip that has a lot of the plays. We or go back and read through this, listen through this and find some other ones, but good luck with your bets and thanks for tuning in.